Oh, welcome back. Welcome back to Vampire the Masquerade, Coteries of New York, the VTM visual novel. Well, one of them at least. We are gonna jump straight back into the reading. I've got a glass of water here with me, in case my throat gets dry. That's likely to happen. And we're midway through our night. We can go meet the Tremere. We can go, you've received an invitation to meet someone at a cathedral in St. John's the Divine. We can go to Malkavian, or we can go to Nosferatu. I want to see what faith and myth is. First time playing the game, I have no idea what this is. I'm trying to play Bruja, so hot-blooded, action. That's why I decided with the Gangrel, or befriended the Gangrel, but I want to see what this faith and myth is. You haven't been to a church since you became a vampire, or kindred, as the euphemism goes. You've had to focus on concrete, practical things like survival and feeding. You've learned the essential of vampire experience, but you don't really have a clear idea of what it all means. The Cathedral of St. John the Divine is a New York landmark. You've been inside once before when you were much younger. You marveled at its gothic facade. Looking at it now from across the street, it feels ominous. Like the prospect of anonymous invitation to a secret meeting is a worrying one, but the venue is well chosen. It's hard to imagine a violent attack in a place like this, with eyes everywhere. You enter the cathedral discreetly. You've quickly learned this is an essential skill for a vampire, how to move without anyone noticing you. The full force of the cathedral's architecture hits you as you walk between the pews. The architect meant to create a feeling of being small in the face of God's glory. Mission accomplished. Based on your note, you assumed whoever you're meeting is in the front. As you step closer to the high altar, it feels as something is dragging at your feet, as if a stone beneath you resists your movement. Does God still listen to you? Religion is superstition. Vampires are satanic creatures. Does God... So this is questioning faith. This is, faithful. And this is, you're atheistic. I'll go religion. Religion is superstition. Religion is superstition. It must be your nerves. As you try and shake a feeling of crushing foreboding, it occurs to you that vampires are a superstition too. There's an old man sitting in front of you. You see only the back of his head, bowing in silent prayer. Your footsteps echo on the floor as he turns to look at you. You can't take his eyes off you. He's tall, dignified, white hair, balding, a few strands escape his sides. He's wearing glasses and simple clergy clothing. His eyes are warm and pale, too kind for someone like you. Something is wrong. You feel heavy as a giant hand presses down on you. The skin in your face is burning. Perhaps unconsciously, you expect something like this as a vampire walking into a cathedral, only it's not the building or God making you feel like you're burning alive. It's the man, the priest. Oh, he's got true faith. Welcome, my child. The priest's tone is kind, but raising panic inside you tells you that the kindness is not for the likes of you. I know why this game can't just kill you, so... running is probably the better option. Man looks straight at your soul. You turn and run away, stumbling out of the cathedral. You emerge outside confused and scared. What was that? At least you escaped unharmed. You stand on the sidewalk, confused, scared. No enemies seem to be attacking you. The priest did not follow you out. The night air is wet with the smell of the city and the same as every night. How did it feel? You look at the man speaking to you. He's well dressed, if a little archaic. Dark-haired, handsome, like a character from an old movie. He smiles as if you know something you don't. You glance around and there are people on the street. You don't appear to be in immediate danger. Why does it hurt so much? Why does it hurt so much? That's the question I wanted to talk to you about. Let me introduce myself. I am Bennett Siegel. We share many things in common, even if you don't know me. Bennett offers his hand to you. Shake his hand. Bennett's handshake is firm and dry. He looks at you intensely, as if trying to find something in your eyes. Would you mind sitting with me for a moment? Bennett points to a park bench in the darkness because of a broken streetlight. Wary, you decide to follow him. Only an enemy would totally unconcerned with Masquerade would attack you here. Bennett sits down, and you follow suit. For a moment, you both contemplate the cathedral in silence. I know how this feels, what you felt. I have experienced it myself many times. For a moment, you consider a respond. It's clear Bennett set up the invitation to come here and orchestrate this little setup. I feel like punching you. I'm thinking of hitting you in the face. Do I have a reason not to? You'll have to decide for that self. Let's talk a while, and if you still feel violent, I'll let you take a punch at me. I want you to meet Father Anthony, or see him, experience him. Do you wonder why you felt like that? Is it a supernatural power? Was it kind of some supernatural power? No, not at all. I don't think so. It's his faith that makes you feel like that. He's safe in his belief, while you're the one damned. Do you ever wonder what role vampires play in God's creation? You start to think. Of course, you've wondered what this is all about. Whether it's about God or nature, you don't really know what being a vampire means. That's the trouble with Masquerade. A human facade with the human problems can go online and find. A human faced with a human problems can go online and find something that helps them. You can't. The masquerade means that everything there is to know about your condition is secret, hidden away. You're left relying on unreliable opinions of people like Beanot. Suddenly Beanot takes your hand and presses it against his chest. As he stares into your eye, you feel his heart stop. My heart no longer beats, yet I move, I talk. Is this how God intends us to be? There's a natural explanation. Well, I don't believe in the supernatural. There's gotta be a natural explanation for this. We just don't know it. Maybe there is. I don't know it. I don't know either. But I know that Father Anthony's faith is real. True faith is such an interesting thing. Like, it is really interesting, and especially when you get into mages of the Celestial Chorus and the Knights Templars. Sometimes I'm skeptical too, but Father Anthony's and also with demons from Demon Fallen, those are interesting as well. Sometimes I'm skeptical too, but in Father Anthony's presence, I know faith is real. I know it because it hurts so much. But perhaps you have questions about faith in our kind. How do you know if any of these stories are true? I don't. How could I know? That is what faith is. You have to believe in something. Good and evil, right and wrong, love and hate. I believe we are damned. I also believe there is a hope, grace. Father Anthony's faith shows me a way. It's easy for us to lose ourselves into the morass of occult speculation. Some of our kind reveal Cain, others Lilith. I don't know why. Thanks, game. Cain, a mythical figure considered to be the first most powerful vampire. Some vampires refer to themselves as Cainites, members of the race of Cain. It's where Cainites, Setites, and I'm pretty sure another term for Lanquay is Kifite, something else. It's not the first. Other World of Darkness have this name convention with the Kifane meaning our people. I'm pretty sure, and then you got the Gawain, the Falane, and the Darkane, I think. For Changeling Dreaming. Obviously, FA would talk about Changeling Dreaming. Changeling Dreaming is so good. Please, World of Darkness, give me more Changeling content. Also, Lilith isn't highlighted. She should be. She's a very complex figure in World of Darkness. Just as much as her real-world counterpart. Many in the Camarilla place their faith in invisible guidance of the Methuselahs, who are supposed to watch over us. Methuselahs is just an older vampire. Yes, I wonder how much matters when I compare it to a character of a good man. Did I come here just to talk about religion? Did you have anything else, or did you just come here to talk about religion? I know it's overwhelming. It was for me when I first met Father Anthony. I know there is others like him, whose faith can shine like beacons, priests, old ladies, children. Anyone can have a conviction inside them. This is too much. This is too much. You expect me to go along with all this insanity? Be an odd nods politely. Let's meet again in a few nights here at our cathedral. We can talk more about after you've fought it through. You leave Banat sitting in the shadows of the cathedral, contempting with what lies within. It would be easier to ignore his words without the reality of knowing what you experienced. Father Anthony was holy. You know it to be true. But what does that mean? By the way, True Faith actually kind of works on everyone. Not everyone. It kind of works as as every religion. It just takes conviction to believe in. We gotta rest, because we can't. You need to rest. Oop. Spin this moon around. No long after you wake up, Gregory knocks on your door of your apartment. Hey, I came to pick you up. Miss Langley wants to see you. Do you know what she needs me for? Any idea what she needs me for? I'm not in a position to ask. He smiles politely. The car's waiting, shall we? You wrestled with the same thoughts a few nights ago. Maybe you should just leave, disappear. Let Sophie find someone else to employ. But then you remember the Anarch Thug being cut down by Quidar, and the closer you are to the same, and how close you are to the same fate, not even a week ago. And that it might still happen if you step out of line. You follow suit. As with your previous visits here, Sophie seems not entirely present when you enter. Her eyes are locked onto one of the paintings in the room. You're pretty sure it was here earlier, but she behaves as if she's seeing it for the first time in her life, entirely entranced. Gregory clears his throat. Sophie turns to both of you. A bit of irritation and incontinence soon gives way to a pleasant, warm smile. You're here. Excellent. Thank you, Gregory. The driver leaves and she turns her attention to you. I hope you had a good few nights and made some acquaintances, but I have to say, I'm happy to see you, Gawain. Thanks for coming. The change of the mood in the room is so sudden and startling. It makes you consider the true power of vampiric charisma. Rationally, you know you're being manipulated, but you don't even care. Her eyes, her motions, her entire body language all feels 100% genuine, and express a legitimate interest in you and your well-being. I have a request for you this night. I need you to find someone and make a delivery. She points to a statue inside a room. You notice a plain-looking flash drive lying on the edge where the inanimate archer's bow touches the pedestal. So like over here. The man you'll be looking for calls himself Kaiser? He has eyes and ears all over New York. It's rare for something to happen without his knowledge. I'll need you to take this flash drive and bring it to him. In exchange, he will give you an address, which I need to know as soon as possible. You're about to ask what's on the drive, but Sophie proves to be one step ahead of you. Oh, don't worry about the contacts. They are encrypted, a procedure for all data that falls into wrong hands. But it won't, correct? She gives you a smile. A handful of just a handful of nights ago, it would make you feel like you're melting. Oh, and Gawain, Kisa is of Nosferatu. The twisted, deformed lineage of kindred. He is old, and his age has made him even more paranoid than others of his clan tend to be. He holds many havens and changes them often. From what I've gathered, he or one of his servants should be found in the park on Coney Island tonight. You'll have to identify them somehow. I'm told Kaiser spent many of his nights these past few years being driven around the city in a black limo. Maybe keep an eye out for that. That smile again, but it's much shorter. Anything more on Kaiser? Anything more on Kaiser? He's been here a long time, about as long as I have. He's got into a lot of trouble exchanging information with both the Anarchs and Camarilla in the past, but ultimately got off scot-free. Kaiser's web of information provides to be strong enough to shield him from consequences of playing both sides. Some say that that's the best proof of his abilities. In this case, be careful when you talk to him. He's very particular about everyone's etiquette, but except his own. Good night and good luck. She flashes one last smile as he turns back to the painting, clearly done with the conversation. You plug in a flash drive and head towards Coney Island. It takes you about part of an hour to reach the lights and the sounds of Coney Island's amusement park from the sea. The drive is almost pleasant this time of night. Thank God for Bell Parkway. There are plenty of people here tonight, but nobody who stands out as a traveling purveyor of secrets. Then again, if they did stand out, it would probably be kind of pointless, right? Nothing to do but figure out the right approach. We'll take the feeding opportunity. Temporary stumped. You feel frustration building inside. You come to recognize what it is. Hunger. The beast calling you to indulge in your vice and lash out. It has to be silenced. You take a short walk away from the lights and onto the less frequented poor alleys and see an opportunity reveals themselves. One does. An older bum has settled himself down in a small niche between two buildings and just began, loudly but incoherently playing. Hard to say what he's praying to, but he's entirely engrossed. Good for you. He barely sees you coming. You bite down, trying to ignore the smell of unwashed body and soiled blankets underneath. The taste is, hold up, that's familiar. Yeah, this guy's on a pie pill, 1 or 2. Or you stop drinking. You feel woozy but happy. The world is spinning, but then it starts spinning the other way. You gotta get it under control. Then you don't. You feel your thoughts scatter in all directions. Every detail of your surroundings turns into potential fascination. Faraway lights, sounds are composing a beautiful symphony. You bask in the afterglow of successfully feeding, like you're on top of the world, superhuman, a master of the night, a god. A few tangents later, a stray thought saying, "This isn't good," breaks through the layers of noise in your head, and you realize you've been standing in a place for 15 minutes, and staring intensely at a man with a gun in his hand. Oh hey, oh there he is, stay put. There's someone who'd like to have a word with you. You're gonna have to wait for him, right here. Who the fuck are you? Yeah. Who the fuck are you? Okay, yeah, the words come out slurred, barely coherent. Whoa, easy there, buddy. He nods at his gun. I would stay put. The hum of the car engine and softened screeches of blanket reaches your ears. The headlights of a black limo puts into place. And there the boss is. Let's go. He motions towards the light with his gun. You're coming to, finally in charge of your body, at least you think. The car door opens, but nobody comes out. The stranger keeps motioning to the car. You hope it's the limo you expect. For a moment, you're pretty sure you've seen the inside of the car is just the bum's drug blood kicking in for an encore. The inside of the limo is a luxury lounge, the kind with stripper poles and a bar full of alcohol. But currently there's no one inside of that. Instead, there are motion monitors and consoles. There are dozens of displays, each one showing something different: surveillance cameras, footage, stock market quotes, television news, emails, tweets, silent movies, lo-fi footage of a gory torture session. Okay. You wonder if the limo's owners can focus on all while surrounded by all the visual noise, and you realize there's nobody there, or is there? A man blinks into existence on the leather couch, attempting to maintain something of a approximate regal position. You're 100%, it's Kaiser. Surrounded by dimly lit computer screens, his features are even more ghastly than you imagined. All sharp angles and twisted bones, mangled flesh and crooked teeth. He bears them in an awful parody of a smile. The door closes behind you. So, the waste of good blood outside tells me Sophie Langley sent you. You got something for me? You reluctantly pull the flash drive from your pocket and pass it slowly to Kaiser. He plugs the USB port into one of the armchairs and displays the data on the screen. That's happens to turn away from you. It takes him about a minute to access the data. Let me guess. This from Langley? She said she'd done something like this. You're a new flunky? You had to bite your tongue to keep from arguing the word he chose, but you nod. Who do you people think I am? I saw this footage weeks ago. He removes the flash drive and throws it back at you in disgust. Tell Sophie deal's off. She wants her address, she can give me something else. Let's try presents. Ask him to take the deal. You take on the most persuasive voice and amicable stance you can that barely constitutes the layer of megalomaniacal monster. Come on, man, don't send me back empty-handed. Take this data and on the deal. It means a lot to me. The sound of what I produces is supposed to be laughed at, you think. You're pretty sure he fell over and died at any second, if it's anything to do other than that. Oh, look at me, I'm so pretty and well spoken. I'm gonna feed you some bullshit and gonna cram it in and ask for seconds. Who the fuck do you think you are? You know what I should you know what I should do for you trying to pull that trick on me? I should mutilate your face and rub sulfur in the wounds. Rip your tongue out and use it to stuff a fucking turkey. Only see, I'm a gracious mood tonight. Plus I hate turkeys, they disgust me. So I'm going to give you a chance to make this little transgression up to me. I'll contact you. Maybe I'll even throw in that stupid address so Langley can shove it up. Oh god, this guy. Right now, unless you want me to get really pissed off, I'll show you yourself out. You're pretty sure you're done here. You get out, close the door behind you, and the car immediately starts to back up. Vertical windows slide past you, and as soon as the limo's on its way, Kaiser Lackey is nowhere to be seen, so you make your way to the car and drive back, wondering what tomorrow brings. Is that really? Okay, cool. We're gonna carry on. Tapping out a window, a small greyish bird flies off in a small piece. Prospect. Okay, cool. Let's go help our gangrel friend. As you open the blinds, you are able to spot a small greyish bird flying into the night. Looking down, you notice a small piece of paper typed paper on the windowsill. Prospects, ASAP, Tan. Third time's the charm, you think to yourself as you once again cross the gate to Prospects Park and head to Tamaka's Heaven. To your surprise, you find her out in the open, sitting on a lawn surrounded by a host of woodland creatures, birds and squirrels mostly. The creatures are each patiently waiting their turn. She flicks a seed at them. It looks like almost whimsical in a twisted sort of way. How you holding up? Hell of a week, huh? How you holding up? Well enough, all things considered. She scatters the remaining seeds onto the grass and hops to her feet. I've been doing some digging. The Inquisition has a safe house up in Manhattan. I think they're keeping it. That's why they're keeping him. The scarred one, I mean. I want to pay him a visit. Kill that thing. As many of those. I want to kill that thing and as many of those SI bastards as I can along the way. Isn't that a breach of the Masquerade? Attacking government safe house. Correct me if I'm wrong. But wouldn't that be considered a breach of Masquerade? Yeah, and that's the least of our worries. Throwing a legion of armed goons standing in our way and an all-powerful vampire as a cherry on top. Look, I'm not stupid. I know it's risky as hell. I'm well aware that I might not come back. Still, it's something I have to do, with or without your help. Oh, what the hell, I'm in. Oh, what the hell. Who wants to live forever, right? I'm in. Me too. He emerges from the shadows a mere few feet from you. Son of a gun finally managed to sneak up on you. Damaga eyeballs him as he gets closer. You've seen that look before. She's clearly asserting her position, but this time it comes off as a formality rather than an actual challenge. How long have you been there, Riol? Long enough. I'm still not buying that whole scarred one bullcrap. But I'll take a bite out of the Inquisition's collective ass if it's too good to pass up. I want in. Believe it or not, just be ready for it. Call it a scarred one, sounds of tooth fairy, just know it's real and it's very dangerous. Fine. Consider me fairly warned. Now, come on, can we move this thing along? I'm itching to kill some SI fucks. I guess we could use the help. I guess we could use you. We all need the help we can get, yeah. He deserves to be there, to see the scarred one with his own eyes. Plus, my brother can be a pain in the ass, but he's one hell of a fighter. Rio nods, a smile creeps across the corner of his mouth. It's barely visible, but you can tell he's pleased. He's pleased him to no end. She might as well have rubbed his tummy. Okay, that's a bit. Don't do that to gangrels. Glad we're on the same page. It's out then. Let's go. Fucking finally. And with that, you leave the relative safety of Prospect Park, steeling yourself for things to come. As you get close to your destination, you have a sneaking suspicion that Tamaka's been pulling your leg. Following her lead, you finally turn from Broadway into a front park. It doesn't seem to make sense, you think to yourself. There's only one spot between here and the Hudson River. but it can't be, can it? Sure enough, as the stone facade of the comes into view, Tamaka motions to you to keep out of sight. How the hell is this well-known tourist trap a hideout for the Second Inquisition? Isn't this place a tourist attraction? Wait, isn't this place a tourist attraction? Only during the day. At night, it serves as a staging ground for the Inquisition. If my sources are to be trusted, they usually are, they brought him here for what they call processing. Doubt they'll keep him for long, though. If we want to get a hit to him, it's now or never. As if on cue, a group of armed guards walk out of the museum, pushing a gunnery with a large steel containing on top of it. As if wheeling out in the open, a truck approaches. Operators start preparing to load a crate onto the vehicle. You scan the area. You take a head count. Tamaka beats you to it. I count at least 7, probably more inside. We should do this quietly and take him out one by one. Real flowers. I say we go in guns blazing, figuratively speaking. If there's more inside, let them come. More the merrier. Let's try the stealthy approach. Tamaka's right. We gotta get in there quietly, take them out one by one. Tamaka nods in silence. Fine. Fine. Then let's do this before you two bore me to the final death. You split up, aiming to cover as much ground as possible. Sneaking into the shadows, you advance, keeping track of one another's progress. You hardly even notice Tamaka takes out the first guard. Not a peep out of him. Trying to keep up, Roll kills one to your left. He's sloppy. He takes his sweet ass time bleeding the guy out. With his dying breath, the man lets out a yelp, drawing the attention of one of his comrades. The guard fast approaching. You ponder your options. Silence his throat with your fangs. As the guard walks up, you leap out of the shadows and use your sharpest weapon you have, your fangs, to slice open his throat. With his windpipe severed, he lets out a gurgling glug as he expires, carefully lays dead body on the dirt. Looking outside, you notice Raoul looking back at you and nods, almost semi-impressed. 3 down, 4 to go. You keep a steady pace, moving across the courtyard, picking off guards one by one. Tamaka does her part, 3 to go. Raoul gets messy again, at least this time he's quiet. With only 2 of them left, you pick one for yourself and gesture to one of your fellow ferals to take care of the other one. Tamaka's quieter, but Raoul's closer. Which one do you choose? Raoul's closer. Let Raoul do it. You know what to Raoul. That's all the encouragement he needs. You see him grunting like an idiot. He sneaks up on one of the guards. The grin turns out to be very thin. Instead of dispatching the enemy quietly, Raoul gleefully taps him on the shoulder. As soon as the guy turns around, the feral slashes him across the face, feeling the gooey warmth of his own eyeballs as on his cheeks. The man lets out a blood-curdling scream. Startling, the final guard turns towards you. All 3 of you approach him. The dire reality of the situation hits him like a ton of bricks. Parallel his fear, he shifts his aim from you to Tamaka to Raoul. He is severely fucked and he knows it. And since you're standing closest to him, you might as well do the honors. Feeding opportunity. You walk over to him, to a quivering mass the mere moments ago. For himself to be the toughest of the tough. Before he can react, you slap the gun out of his hands, lean in and smile. Hi. Half a second later, your fangs are halfway to his windpipe. Blood tastes sour, with a hint of cowardice and regret. You could have gone out with a bang, but chose to go out with a gargle. Oh well. With the SI operative taken care of, you turn your attention to the container sitting in the middle of the courtyard. Using your combined strength, you make quick work of the steel door. As you walk in, the moonlight from behind illuminates you as a twisted figure huddled on the floor. It's hard to believe the thing lying before you, beaten and tortured within an inch of its unlife, is the same creature that fought back at the cemetery. What the fuck is that thing? The boogeyman. Why, it's the boogeyman, Raoul. Turns out he's real. Who knew, huh? His lips silently moves, searching for the right words. He looks at you, then turns to his sister as if wanting a sign. For a moment, Tamaka just stands there. She looks down at the scarred one, the once feared boogeyman. The very mention strikes terror in the hearts of her tribe, now reduced to a whimpering pile of flesh. Finally, she turns to you with a look of childish innocence mixed with confusion. Then she looks back at the scarred one. You can tell she's lost. Tam, what the hell are you waiting for? Let's kill this thing and get out of here. It's your choice, Tamaka. It's your choice. I can't make it for you. She turns to you with a look of pride mixed with she looks at you with a look of pride mixed with desperation. I'm not asking you to. Do it, Tam. You know he deserves it. Hell, looks like you'll be doing him a favor. You made your choice a long time ago. You don't have to. Whatever you do, there will be consequences. Do what you do. Just be ready to live with the consequences. Suddenly, the air around you seems thick. You look over at Tamako. She's not quivering anymore. She walks up to the scared one. The pitiful creature pressing himself against the corner in desperation and futile attempt to crawl away. Without a single word, she grabs the creature by the ear and sinks her claws into the side of its head. She looks him dead in the eye, with voice surprisingly warm, almost smooth. You can rest now, brother. In one fluid motion, she twists off the neck of the shoulder. The sound is both sickening and satisfying. The empty husk of the once fearful beast falls to the floor like a slab of meat. Jesus, Tam, that was... What the hell was that? Closure. Was that closure of a beast? Because, like, that seemed brutal. That also was, like, you know... Hopefully some closure. Standing outside the steel container, the three of you take a moment to gather your thoughts. You look at one another, blood staining your hands, clothes, and faces. In the pale moonlight, it peers back at you, shining, like fleshing stained on the fleshy of paper. Without another word, you head back towards the sea lights. Journeying back takes longer than it did the other way direction. With bits and pieces of the second vision still stuck in your clothes, you decide to play it safe and stick to the back alleys and cutting through the darkest corners of the sea. Tamaka stays several steps ahead. Both of you and Riel are quietly content to follow her lead. You can tell that the last few nights have taken a toll on her, but not necessarily in a bad way. She seems stronger, somehow, confident, more in tune with herself. Soon the awkward silence creates unbearable enough that you're willing to risk making small talk with Riel. You think she's gonna be alright? Yeah, I think so. She's just gotta figure out some stuff. Our lineage. We have a special relationship with our beast. We either let it control us or become attuned to it. It's a constant struggle, marking with difficult choices. I think Tam just made one of those. Pondering what you just heard, the rest of your trip barely registers. To your surprise, you suddenly find yourself back at Prospect. Tamaka keeps walking. She strides through the park like a queen of old, returning from a victorious conquest. You call out to her. Riel stops you with a gesture. Not yet. Give her some time to process this shit. She'll let you know when you're ready. And hey, you did alright. I mean, don't get me wrong. You're still an asshole, but thanks. He smiles at you. Wonders never cease. See you around. And with that, he follows his sister's footsteps. A weird smile creeps into your face as you meld into the New York night. And all rest. You walk down the street towards your haven. In some other town, the sidewalks would be desolate at this time of night. In New York, there are plenty of passers-by going about their business. It's easy to be paranoid when you're a vampire surrounded by a crowd of humans. The kindred have many enemies. Oh, sorry. I haven't taken a drink yet, which is good. My reading pace is getting better. We've almost done an hour without me need another drink. Though I've been very focused on reading. Like, very hyper-focused. I haven't looked at the streamer chat or all, so, like, you know, sorry if I missed a message here. The kindred have many enemies, and all of those enemies have one trait in common. They're invisible, indistinguishable from normal humanity. Other vampires, hunters, all look like people. It's that old man just as tired restaurant worker or a kindred thrall tailing your movements? Of officers idly waiting in patrol cars or any corps or second position specialists looking to end the undead threats? This kind of thinking leads to madness, but you can't shake a feeling that someone is watching you. It's not the first time you felt that like that. Whatever it is, it's probably something you have to take care of. Best case, someone is tailing you. Worst case, you'll be attacked and killed. Unfortunately, being undead has its limitations. The sun is coming up soon, and you'll burn to a crisp if you stay on the streets. You reach your haven and settle in for the day, disconnected by the idea of someone might know where you sleep. As you wake from your slumber, you emerge from your haven for the night. You notice a familiar face on the other side of the street, standing on the corner, looking straight at you. It's Kaiser's lackey whom you met recently, Jackie. He nods to you, encouraging you to approach. His hands are outside his pockets. He seems pretty relaxed. He's keeping his eyes on the street, as if making sure you're alone. He smiles awkwardly when you approach. Evening, got something for you from our mutual friend. He produces a crumpled piece of paper from his pocket and hands it to you. Read it, memorize it, give it back. It's a letter. The paper might be might just be a page ripped out of a spiral notebook. The writing on it is in exquisite detail and deliberate. It reads, "Tie him to square your debt with me. Go to the wine shop at da-da-da and meet me at da-da-da, Delta Numero. When you tell them that they don't have any, just say Fido Serva del Film G, that exact fucking word, and make sure you get the G right. I'll get a ball, you'll get a ball. Just take it and leave it by the Gazette. Don't ask how much it is or anything, just walk out. When you have it, come back to the Jackie boy here and let him know. You done? Memorize that shit and hand it over." Didn't think your boss was a liar guy. Didn't you peg your boss for a liar guy? Isn't electronic communication his old stick? Well, yeah, well, some things are better done the old-fashioned way. How about you done with that letter? The note for phrasing the address mentioned, the letter, the hand in his bag. You know the address, the phrases in the address that are mentioned in the letter, then hand it back to Jackie. He merely reaches for a lighter and burns the letter, putting out the ashes with his boot. So yeah, when you're done what a boss asks, come back here so I can tell you what to do now, where to go next. I'll be in the alley over there, so find me when you have the item, whatever it is. I don't know what it is. The boss made it extra clear I shouldn't care, so I don't. See ya. He shuffles away, leaving you leaving you to preserve pressure the lead from the letter. Time to pay a visit to Nolata. You write out the address mentioned in the note. Not counting the local restaurant patrons, the street is mostly empty at the time of night, but curiously the wine shop is still open. Inside, a small middle-aged woman with curly hair stands behind the counter, in front of a wall filled with wine bottles. The door at the back of the room, with a small table and chair, occupied by a man in a black flux leather jacket with a slick, combed back hair. He's reading a newspaper, but pauses as the little bell rings. When you open the door, he takes a sip from a small seamed cup, then gets back to his broadsheet. "Good evening, how can I help you?" Be direct. I would like a bottle of da-da-da-da-da-da. Let me check our stock. She seems to be looking through the database on the laptop, sitting on the counter. She puts on a polite smile. "I'm afraid you don't have any of that moment, sorry." Recite the phrase, straight and simple. Yeah. I may feel yeah. I'm not even going to try and pronounce that. It's a code phrase. In that case, let me see if I have any in the back. Wait here, please. The woman leaves the counter and goes through a back door in the back. The man at the table puts down his newspaper and takes another sip from his cup, washing it down with a gulp of water from a nearby glass. He tries to hide it, but there's no doubt he's watching you. About a minute passes. Remain silent and wait. You remain to yourself. You remind yourself of what kinds of wrote in the letter and keep quiet, patiently waiting for a woman to return to the back of the store. The man finishes his drink and starts dawdling on the newspaper, his eyes darting to you ever so often. The door at the back of the store opens, and the prospector emerges with a small, unlabeled square bottle of crimson liquid. She gives it to you as with an apologetic smile. Scusi, sorry for taking so long. Turns out we did have it. She offers you a bottle, and you reach out to grab it, but she retracts it. Do you know what this is, don't you? Presents. You focus your blood and immediately see both the people in the shop focus intently on you and what you're about to say. You know exactly what this is, and I'm the right person to give it to you. The woman gives you a bottle without hesitation. Grazie. Deciding you pushed your luck far enough, you nod to the exit of the store. You nod and the exit of the store. Then take a brisk walk to the car. Nobody follows you. You leave Noliat and the driver backs to your apartment. It takes you some time to find a parking spot, but you finally get out of the car and start looking for Jackie. He's not far from where you parted ways, just under 2 hours ago. Got the goods? Sure do. I sure do. Cool. Stand by. Gotta make the call. He takes a few more steps into the narrow space between your two buildings and takes out the same high-tech phone you saw him carry last time. Hey boss, yeah, we have it. Why do I point them to? Okay, yeah, I'll tell them that. Got it right away. Puts the phone back in his pocket and turns back to you. Worse than point, half an hour, so you better step on it. See you around. Only a flippin' salute, Jackie starts walking down the street. You mark your way back to the car and drive. You had to push the speed limit to get there in time. Oh, also, I forgot we have our own car. I can't lie. Like, logically, it does make sense, but I always forget that our vampire has their own car. Oh, my cat woke up. Sorry, my cat's just, like, sitting up on the bed. You okay, little one? Yeah. Hang on. Let me see if they want to go outside. I'll be right back. Sorry, I'm back. I just gave my cat a few treats. We had to push the speed limit to make it on time. But you're here. Windsor Point is a change of scenery. This place is post-industrial dump. You're near the stadium, the nearby stadium notwithstanding. You stop your car once you realise that if you go any further down, the poles will kill your chassis. You step out onto one of those gashes in the asphalt, splashed in ankle-deep water. Kaiser's limo is nowhere to be seen. In fact, the whole place is pretty much deserted, other than the apartment property of a lone bar, a middle-aged woman who's just locked up the place. Wait for Kaiser, you know. You stay in your car and decide to wait. Kaiser must be you say it must be on his way, or if he's not and is instead playing one of his games, then you better not participate. You got what you wanted, let him come to you. The bright light of a car pulls over the down road some 10 minutes later, catches your attention. It's a black limo. Kaiser is finally here, it seems. Same as last time. The car door opens, but nobody comes out. You know the drill. You get in, Kaiser is visible when you look inside. You sit down, and across the door behind you. So you pulled off our hitch then. Give it here. You hand him the bowl over to the Nosferatu. He uncorks it gently and takes a whiff, then puts the cork back in. Yeah, that's the stuff. I can see you're useful beyond your charm with subtlety of a bar. I can see you're useful beyond your charm with the subtlety of a battering ram. Good to know. Here's Langley's precious address. He passes you an envelope with what feels like a thick card inside. Now we're even. Sure, fledgling. If that's the way you want to see it. I'll send Jackie over if I ever need anything else from you. How about that? Time for you to get out now. He waves the car out of the car with the envelope in hand. You get out, back on the torn asphalt in the desperate and descript surroundings. The limo slowly drives away. Finally, you can turn to Sophie and bring her what she wanted. Gregory lets you in. You hear a shrill and pleasant laugh as you realize Sophie has guests over. He's a man from Elysium, the one with glasses and a good taste in suits. You didn't have the chance to talk with him last time you saw him. Gawain, I'm glad to see you. Tell me, did the two of you previously meet? The man doesn't answer. He approaches you with an energetic, almost dance-like step and puts his hands. Thomas Arto, I heard about you. Pleasure. Thomas is a great source of gossip and an excellent conversationalist. I also have a prince's ear, which is primary reason dear Miss Langley wishes to speak to me tonight. Good gossip, even if it comes from me, isn't nearly as valuable. Sad. Sophie is taken aback by the man's direct comments, but she smiles politely. The awkward atmosphere is broken again by the guests' grand laughing. I kid, of course, I kid. Well, I was about to leave anyway, so I'll leave you two to it. Goodbye, good night, Sophie, Gawain, Greggy boy. Sophie's driver opens the door, and Arturo and the guest steps out of a single wave of his hand towards the host. The door closes. He's quite a character, isn't he? He's quite the character, isn't he? Yes, quite, but he has his uses. Thomas has his clout in the court, and accuses and access to many juicy details on everyone, the prince to the lowest primogen. The lowliest primogen! Yes, primogens. The lowliest rank of the Camarilla. Not like, sorry. Primogens are pretty big rank in cities, so it just makes it seem like, okay, this person's a high up vampire, to view primogens as pretty low. It's useful to have him on your side, even if his eccentricity requires some patience. Speaking of patience, you have been putting mine to the test lately. Did you manage to contact Kaiser and acquire what I asked? Yes, but I had to do another job for him first. Yes, I have it, but the data you offered was old news to him. I had to do another job for him before you could give me this card. She retrieves the envelope from you. I'm sure he did. I do hope it wasn't too much of an inconvenience. I had to retrieve a bottle for him. I made me go and get an entirely separate escapade to retrieve a bottle of wine from a store and all that. I had to use code phrases and whatnot. Wine shop, code phrases. That degenerate pest. She's visibly agitated, but calms herself and smiles at you. Don't worry about it. I'll make sure that whatever Kaiser had you do, it'll blow over. She opens the envelope and looks at the card, and you notice the same lettering you saw on Kaiser's note from before, but you can't see the details. Hides, widened. Yes, excellent. Whoops! Let me alt-tab quickly. Can I do this? Yes I can. I forgot to, start my animated wallpaper from Wallpaper Engine. It just changed because, like, it's been an hour, so, like, it changed. Yeah, it's excellent. I need to call some favors. I'll likely be busy for the next few nights. You have my permission to show some initiative, my dear charge. I'll contact you soon. With that, Sophie ushers you out, and you are left to do with the rest of the night's hours as you would like. So we do have somebody's watching. It's a different kind of magic. We're just gonna carry on with this person's. It's been some time since kindred historians will no doubt refer to the Battle of Corsair. Still no word from Tamaka. Maybe it's time to drop by and see how she's doing. Immediately after you enter the park, you can tell that something is wrong. An odd silence hangs in the air, like the silence from a choking victim after the fight leaves them. It doesn't take you long to find Tamaka. You see her in the distance, leaning against a tree. As you make your way over to her, she puts a finger to her lips, only for you to notice the blood dripping from her side. You pick her up, letting her lean on you. She looks at you, her eyes wide with fear and rage. They're here, the Inquisition, they found us. Real, he drew them away, saved my ass. He's still out there, we need to go help him. You're in no shape to fight. You're bleeding out, you're in no shape to mount a rescue. Screw you. A jar of pain makes her almost bend in half. I'm going. You're barely standing. I won't let you get yourself killed. I'm going. You want to stop me? Might as well kill me now. Through sheer force of will, she manages to straighten herself up. Let's fucking do this. You head deeper into the park. Soon you stumble upon a sea of obstruse barriers, service vehicles, black and yellow construction caution tape, men in work suits. They keep civilians out of a certain area. It's not difficult for a creature of the night to avoid these. You'd almost think that the presence here is an accident, but once you saw a black van deeper in, you get a foreboding feeling. Tamaka grabs your shoulder and squeezes hard. Hold up. There. You have to squint your eyes to see it. Two eyes are scanning. Scouts have taken tactical position between the trees. There's no way in hell you would have noticed them or hid in time for Tamaka to have if it hadn't alerted you. Body armor, camo, night vision goggles, rifles and semi-auto shotguns, some equipment you can't even name. These guys mean business. There's no time. She gets ready to pounce on them. Consequences be damned. You need to think fast. Take one out, leave the other to Tamaka. You focus your efforts. You head down to the nearest opponent. Let Tamaka take care of the other one. Your target falls before he's able to pull the trigger. A faint gargle lets you know Tamaka's done her part as well. You look over to see her standing over the rapidly cooling corpse of a soldier. She flicks her wrist, sprinkles the glass under her feet with the man's blood. It's a tie. All things considered, she seems to be doing alright. You keep moving. Tamaka gestures to the nearest patch of trees. Stick to the shadows. Take them out one at a time. Sound advice. You take it to heart. You move towards Tamaka's haven. It doesn't take long before you run across them at Morin and Lemon Park. 3 operatives in full riot gear that are running down a park alley, sweeping the area with barrel-mounted flashlights. Keeping very still and very quiet, you wait for them to approach. Tamaka watches you from behind, from the bushes nearby, waiting for you to follow her lead. We can either leave them to Tamaka or try and take 2 of them out, yeah. As the first victim approaches past, you lunge at him, sinking your teeth into his neck. As with sudden motion, you rip a chunk of flesh out from his throat. Quickly before the other can react, you run fully at him, full speed. Just as you're about to take the first one out, Tamaka pounces that from the side, taking him out in an instant. As soon as he lands, she springs back towards the other one. A single slash of claw across it takes. The man body falls to the ground. After a second or two, his head follows. You raise an eyebrow at Tamaka. She hits back with a roguish grin. 1 to 1. 2 to 1. No time to save your victory. A savage yell rings out from across the tree line. You know that voice, real. Tamaka throws herself towards where it came. It's almost unbelievable how fast she moves, considering the state she's in. You're barely able to keep up. More seconds later, you find yourself under the cover of rosebush, giving you clear view of the nearby clearing. Off in the distance, you spot a group of gunmen in coverage. Slowly but surely, the circle of hunters close in on a lone, struggling figure on the ground. The figure lets out a pained roar. Looking closely, you realize it's Raoul, caught in the same steel net you saw them used against the scarred one. He's struggling fanatical, trying to break free. With each passing second, step by step, operatives close in around him. Driven by instinct, Tamaka launches forward to save her brother. She stops herself at the last moment as if reminded of your presence. Okay, how do we do this? Fast and fierce. We go in fast and fierce, no messing around. Take Emma as quickly as possible. She nods in approval. Sounds good. You move into the 2-person SWAT team, staying low to the ground. You move in like a 2-person SWAT team, staying low to the ground. But before you finally make your first move, the first 2 hunters meet their death. Unfortunately, it's enough for others to notice your presence. So much of the element of surprise. The two of them turn towards you with their fingers on the trigger. Another 2 approach you, stabbing the air with their cattle prods. She's got claws. I don't. So I'll let one of the claws take the close combat. Attack gun. Prioritizing long-range attacks, you make your work forward, slashing both of their throats before they can fire. Meanwhile, Tamaka does her share. She swiftly avoids the cattle prods and moves in for the kill. 4 bodies hit the ground. 2 vampires are still standing. Both of you turn to the last remaining foe. Driven by sheer desperation, the sole surviving soldier stands over Raoul. He aims his semi-automatic shotgun at his head. Tamaka growls. Her gesture at her stands down. There's no room for mistakes here. Let him go and we'll let you live. Listen to me. Let him go and we'll let you live. It's that simple. With shaking hand, the gunman looks at you, then Tamaka, as if warning you not to come any closer. It's mostly for show. He's fucked and he knows it. You notice the man's grip loosen. Clinging to hope, he's second away from giving up. 3, 2, 1. Suddenly, Raoul springs up, grabbing the man's gun. As they struggle, you and Tamaka lunge forward towards the gunman. A shot rings out. Raoul's body collapses under the weight of a steel net. His head is a gaping hole. The operative looks at you, startled and confused. His eyes widen, seeing Tamaka fly towards him, death incarnated. The man screams echo across the park. She does not stop. Not when his intestines are spread across the grass. Not when his eyes are turned to bloody holes. Not when his face is turned to mush. Only when the screaming stops. Only then it's certain he met his cruel end. Only then does she stop. You watch in silence as she walks over to what's left of her brother. Falling to her knees, Tamaka lets out a yell unlike anything you ever heard, as if being possessed by some wailing spirit, a banshee screaming out into the sky. Her screams echo across the clearing until finally it all goes quiet. With tears streaming down her face, she looks up at you. It's my fault. I put us in their sights. If it wasn't for me, he would still... Clenching her fist, she pounds the ground in frustration. Fuck. It was his choice. It was his choice as well. He wasn't a child. He knew what could happen. She bows her head, pressing her chin to her chest. It's like she's processing what you just said, coming to terms with it. Finally, she looks up at you and gets back to her feet. She seems to have shed despair, at least for the time being. Let's get out of here. Hastily, carefully, you make your way out of the park. You don't stop until you reach a nearby alley. There, in relative safety of the surrounding darkness, you take a moment to rest. Leaning against the wall, Tamaka presses her hand into one of the wounds. Flying off pain, she looks out at you. Let's split up. Less attention. Hunters, spotters, on the rooftops. You need help. I'm not going anywhere. You need to get her patched up. I know a guy. We'll be fine. No, knowing that that's time to fold, you nod and head towards the far end of the valley. After several steps, you look back to see how Tamaka's doing. You smile, knowing her absence. Having managed to get a couple blocks without incident, you thank your lucky stars to blend into the nightly New York crowd. Hopefully Tamaka's made as well. And we need to rest again, because we can't do any of this. Oh yeah, okay, that's about the tail link. Okay, we're getting these piled up. I think we're gonna do this, Myth and Faith, and maybe do this one, or this one, I don't know. But if anyone wants to meet you again at the cathedral, you wonder whether the mysterious priest will be there. You start to look about the churches differently since your last encounter with Bernard. You're not sure what happened inside, but it was unavoidable real. You felt it. When Bernard mentioned that being in the presence of the Father Anthony would eventually kill someone like you, an undead being, you believed him. It doesn't seem very common though. In New York, you pass thousands of people every night. None of them have made you feel so afraid, so insignificant. If you were to encounter someone like Father Anthony in the subway or nightclub, you would know. There are many churches in the 5 boroughs, and you're pretty sure most of them don't contain someone whose faith can touch you in this way. Yet you've become weary, just like they just might. Still, tonight the cathedral looks like it looks as before, a striking landmark acting as a symbol of faith to people who have no idea that vampires exist in their midst. For them, questions of faith and myth are theoretical or philosophical. For you, those same questions suddenly define the meaning of your new existence. You sneak into the cathedral like an old hand, as if going to the church has been a regular for your past life. Inside the cathedral, it's almost desolated. You're not sure if you'd be meeting Bennett alone. The idea of you feeling Father Anthony's faith on your undead flesh freezes you in terror. Bernard is waiting for you inside the front pews of the cathedral in the exact same spot where you saw Father Anthony. Worried, you approach, but you don't feel the touch of faith that shook you before. Bernard nods as you sit next to him in the pew. Aren't you worried? Aren't you worried about me in here? What if your friend the priest returns? Don't worry, he's not here tonight. You've had some time to think. I'm guessing you found the touch of Father Anthony's faith hard to ignore. For most people, God's presence is a question of faith. When I talk to Father Anthony, it feels like proof. Bennett is feverishly intense as he speaks. It's clear these questions have consumed his existence. Perhaps they'll consume yours too. This is kindred culture. Even if we don't believe, this is kindred culture. Our shared stories about where we came from, right? That's one way of looking at it. All religions can be reduced to cultural myths if you are so inclined. Personally, I think the reality of our condemnation proves that this is more than a myth. Brennan looks around reflexively to make sure nobody's listening. There are only a few people in the enormous cathedral, and they don't seem like they have interest in two loners murmuring to each other in the front few pews. It might seem like ancient history, things that happened thousands of years ago, but time works differently for our kind. If the stories are true, there are Methuselahs that still exist who walked the earth when Jesus was still alive. The only problem is that old vampires lie, they adjust histories to suit their egos. Surely something was written down. Surely something was written down before Masquerade was established. Of course, which may have interesting manuscripts in their libraries. I've seen a few. If you have the chance, I recommend looking at them. This is how the story goes. God cursed Cain to a punishment as a murder of Abel. Cain walked the night shunned by humanity and drank blood to stain himself. Even from the point of our origin, we are damned. However, the story becomes really interesting when you move forward. Cain creates more of our kind, often referred to as the second generation. They live in the first city, called Enoch, ruling openly over human inhabitants. I see the first cities as Cain's redemption. Cursed by God to wander, he remade himself as a ruler and lawgiver, acted as an immortal shepherd to humanity. It only started to go wrong when the second generation begat a third, and the vampires started to run amok. So the third generation, known as the Antediluvians, who founded the great vampire clans. By the way, this is really interesting when you get into like how different clans, even clans outside of the established, like about Hakim, they view that Hakim, the Antediluvian, the Old Man of the Mountain, was the justice of the sea, and their clan brought justice to the vampires who overstepped their bounds. It's interesting. You can trace a direct lineage of blood to the antediluvians of your clan. We know more about them than we know about the second generation. And after the first city, Cain lineage departs the story. Perhaps he was disheartened by the decapitation of his descendants. The antediluvians went on to build the second city in imitation of the first, but it's doubtful their rule was just. People moving in the cathedral, both you and Bennett have made sure none of those get close enough to hear your talk. Many of the people you've seen have been elderly or disabled, so it's not surprising that you can hear squeaking of a wheelchair. What alarms you more is that you overheard an old woman speaking in a Russian accent mentioning Father Anthony. Let's find Father Anthony to see if he can help us. From what I've heard, he's an exceptional man. You turn to look and see two men and a woman. All three are in their 50s, clearly well worn by life. One of the men pushes the woman in a wheelchair. She's dark-haired and intense, seemingly only half in this world. Yeah, exceptional, but he doesn't like moles. The speakers are sure of the men, more animated and worried. He's probably a stronger man in his youth, perhaps even athletics. He carries a Midwest accent. The only interest is whether he we're only interested in whether he likes blank bodies. You had better look at each other. This is bad news. Whoever these three are, they can't be for good for you. We need to get out of here. Let's meet outside. Walk right past the Moors. You decide to stand up and walk right past the three Moors, hoping they don't realize what you are. Pretending to be Moors is second nature to all vampires, or at least it should be. Besides, not long ago you are perfectly ordinary human. You adopt obvious smile for someone who doesn't suspect that anything might be amiss in God's house and take a few steps towards the aisle. Note that now that you get a better look at them, the three Moors approach have an aura of experience about them. They look like they've seen a thing or two in their emerging lives. Both men have stubble and overgrown hairs of all those lives are consumed by an obsession. One looks at you casually, then stares. She has a great quill on her knees. You've never met a Moor who knows how to deal with the world of kindred. Something tells you that these three just might. Panicking, you turn around and start walking briskly towards the side of the cathedral, away from these three. You don't want to attract their attention, so you pick up a brochure detailing how to donate money to the cathedral. You pretend to study the leaflet, hoping the three turn their attention away from you. The way seems unmanageable, but you know you can't appear hurried. Be casual. You'll make it out. After a while, you sneak a glance at the three of them. They were where you just saw a while ago, around a few front pews. Discreetly, you tuck away the brochure and scroll casually down the side of the aisle towards the exit. That was a close call. Who were those three? Did you recognize them? I might have, I'm not sure. Let's talk. Let's take a few. Let's talk a few tenacious vampire hunters living in the city. Tenacious vampire hunters living in the city. One of them is supposed to be a woman in a wheelchair. For a few seconds, Benal looks at you as if he's wondering whether he should say something. There's one thing I've always wondered about the story of Cain. The traditions of Cameron put a lot of faith in the relationship between sire and child. You're supposed to follow the example you're making, yet Cain didn't really seem to care for the vampires he embraced. Did he think it was a mistake to create our kind? My sire left me. Is it common among kindred? Yes, unfortunately. But kindred are selfish and cruel. You know, I'm Sophie's child. You're her prodigy. It's amazing to see that we share an appreciation for mythologies of our kind, considering Sophie has little interest in the question of spirits. You stare at Bunner, you know something he isn't telling you, but all this talk about Cain and First Sea, you forgot about it. Now the only question is, what does he mean? Does Sophie know his child is talking to you? Probably not. Don't hold it against me. I admit finding some pleasure in seeing you suffer the effects of Father Anthony's faith. I suppose that demon is in me. I'm not your enemy. I understand you're bitter, Bernard, but I'm not your enemy. I'm sorry, I know that. It's just that sometimes I get tempted by sin. You know, we should meet again. We've talked about myths. Maybe that's cowardly when the reality of faith is right in front of us. I'll introduce you to Father Anthony. You nod, I'm sure that's a good idea. But now walks away, you follow his example, not wanting to hang around the cathedral any longer. Okay, so we got half a night left. We can either go talk to another vampire or do one of these. I feel like somebody's watching me. You recently feeling that someone's tailing you. Time to confirm your suspicions. Someone is following you around and has been for a few nights, maybe longer. That can't be a good thing. The only question is, what do you think? What do you do about it? Provoke the stalker into appearing. You venture out one of the streets with a goal of letting your stalker know you're aware of you're being followed. It's time to stop this ridiculous charade. It's raining outside. As you step out of the street in front of your haven, you wonder whether that'll help. You will be able to see the first steps of your stalker in puddles in the ground. Not sure where to start, you slip a few bills into a homeless man and chat up a guy who runs a local bogat. Whatever. Okay. I'm gonna just take a sip of the drink I have, quickly. Okay, got my strength back. I'm going an hour in. We're doing good. I have no idea how long this game is. Both of them talk your ear off about strange characters hanging around, but none of the stories seem right to you. Walking the street, you're convinced by turns that everyone you see is an enemy agent out to get you. That your stalker has decided to take the night off. Frustrated after a couple hours of useless searching, you cross the road without looking where you're going. A courier on a motorbike zooms towards you and has no time to brake or swerve as you suddenly step in front of him. For a split second, your eyes meet with the man of the bike and you both know you'll collide. You'll get hurt. Something hits you, pushes you forward. You tumble flying to the sidewalk as the courier zooms past. You feel weight on your back, catch a glimpse of something, a person, female you think, then she disappears. You can spend a couple more hours trying to find a woman who's been stalking you, but you shivered. But in your unshriveled undead heart, you know it to be futile. She's gone. And we're gonna rest. Quadar Asim, the sheriff of New York City, is knocking at the door of your haven. The sight comes as more of a little shock. If you had business with you, you'd expect him to see him already inside, or never see him coming at all. Yeah, here he is, on the other side of the peephole, patiently and politely waiting for you to let him in. You carefully unlock the door and face him in silence. Evening, may I come in? You simply stare at him. The lack of answer doesn't faze him, and your lack of resistance as he starts walking inside obviously is interpreted as permission. Once inside, he starts looking around as you curiously stay by the door. Haven't really had the time to make your place your own yet, have you? It feels like Langley's apartment through and through. A secluded study where nobody studies anything. Look at the books on the shelf, obviously meant to impress guests, not to read. They reveal nothing about the owner, aside from the aching desire to be taken seriously as an intellectual. Dear God, Connor, you didn't have to, like, murder her like that, dear God. Not just the sheriff of the sword, I see. Maybe you are a Toreador, maybe I judged. He picks up one of them and smirks before putting it away. The phenomenology of the spirit, next to all the garbage of poetry. We can make a bet. If she reads more than 20 pages, I owe you $50 and a gallon of blood. The kind of place self-professed hermits entomb themselves to suffer. Considering how much you have to run around these nights, you probably only use it to shelter from the sun and rest, right? Even though he's obviously making an effort to come off as non-threatening, it's impossible to forget the first impressions he made. So you still see him as a fierce predator, trying hard not to expose his true colors. You sense a familiar fight-or-flight response as you struggle to find a diplomatic answer to his last question. If Cad bothered by your silence, he doesn't let it show. He keeps walking around, toying with whatever catches his eye. Eventually, he speaks up again. Watch any baseball lately? If I had to guess, you strike me as a Red Sox fan. Now he's inviting you to show more direct manners. You attempt to overcome your physical reaction to him and reply as casually as you can. We just got ... Your mind keeps going blank that night every time... oh, we're just suffering from PTSD. Okay. Your mind keeps going back to that night when everything was changed forever. Waking up in the hall body next to you, spending a night in the underground sweatbox, unsure of what will happen next. Vanless car ride, the 3 strikes, a bloody first crowd, the blade, a rebirth, a baptism in fire, a frightening executor who makes sure the flames scarred your spirit. As you look at his face, you realize he's reading the emotions from you. Not in the mood of exchanging pleasantries, There's no animosity in the voice. He's saying it as a fact. Let me get straight to the point then. He momentarily stops caring about his surroundings, turns his attention to you, demanding the entirety of your attention in return. You see, there's something I've realized over the years. In a large part, I've been hired to look menacing with a sword, but my job is about seeing through bonds and relationships. Ah, that's why I heard my cat at my door. Hope they're okay. They should be. This should be fun. Sorry. But a large part of my job is seeing through bonds and relationships. The Camarilla would be safe as long as its members adhere to certain social contracts. Make their dealings and affiliations for everyone to be seen. But that obviously remains a pipe dream. This is a community bond of conspirators, over-ambitious gangsters and politicians, monsters in denial, all sorts of tragically broken individuals. They are driven by desire that makes them incompatible with a masquerade, incompatible with prolonging survival of a Camarilla, incompatible with the methods I use to operate. And so, I am doomed to be a cop, constantly insinuating behind my back, maybe for a good reason, but immediately called for help whenever someone loses their tableware. Or like an Agatha Christie protagonist, outwardly assisted by everyone but constantly lied to about everyone's pasts and motivations, even if my failure to solve the mystery might be an end to us all. He tries to sound peaceful, resigned to his fate, but it's easy to detect a tinge of regret in his voice, a voice belonging to someone who had once had bigger ambitions than this. What broke him? So you see, for this detective, the whodunit is far more important than why done it is much more important than who done it, or how done it. When you understand all the players and their mutual obligations, you easily understand every crime. But of course, the kindred know it, so they devise ways of making my job harder, like conspiracies between two unrelated actors that depend on scratching each other's backs for mutual security. Or they enforce a blood bond to make someone unexpectedly their fool, a boss serving their employment, a rebel serving a tyrant, just because one is regularly forced to drink another's blood. What has Sophie seen in you? Why does the prince keep asking me about your actions? How come you're being pushed to build your own coterie so fast? Are you surrounded by unclear motives which you yourself don't understand? That unnerves me, and it should unnerve you as well. Why are you here? The monologue has gone on for long enough. Why are you here? What is this about? You finally managed to raise your voice. Kadar notices Veth and smiles softly. You haven't gone mute since the last time I saw you. Good. Well, I'm here for a selfish reason. I need to develop a repertoire with you to better fulfill my obligations. This is the last time. The last time we met, I couldn't see you as my equal. Now that you've been accepted by a Camarilla, what choice do I have? I understand if you don't want to see my face again, but I am one of the faces of New York City's community, and as long as you're part of it, it's going to be impossible for me to avoid. Especially when I have business with you, and I do. As long as you might guess now, one of my tasks is to uncover and understand your bonds, and one of them might endanger our community. Well, that's not menacing at all. Who is he talking about? Someone from my curry? You mean someone I'm trying to recruit for my curry? Kadar shakes his head. I'm monitoring them and they know it. If they break the rules, okay. They're doing it right away, meaning I haven't learned about it yet. Unless you might want to have something to share. A moment of awkward silence. Joking, mostly. He produces a file underneath his coat and presses it to you. This is our troublemaker. You open the file to see a printed photo. You freeze up as you recognize the face and are overwhelmed by a flood of repressed memories. Jessica Lowe, the one who made the last few years of your life heaven, the last few weeks a living hell. Since she took pretty much everyone you knew with her after you split, you thought transitioning this life would be painless, no baggage at all. Have you thought wrong? You look at Kadar expecting answers. There is some unfortunate rumors you committed suicide after a messy breakup. So apparently, Miss Jessica here is desperately mobilizing everyone to know who she knows to look for you. Turns out she contacted a lot of people who might recognize you, including some in law enforcement agencies. The risk of endangering us is relatively low, but far from non-existent, which means she must be stopped. Must be stopped sounds threatening. You dread thinking of what he's planning. I'll arrange for you to meet tomorrow. You can straighten the situation out and say goodbye to the life you've forsaken. You're arranging what? Your eyes must look like saucers right now. Usually the matters are left to discretion, and I can't think of the easiest solution. The lost sheep reappear, takes care of an unfinished business, disappear, never to be seen again. Nobody cares. It's simple, it's clean, no convoluted schemes, no unnecessary victims, and it gives me opportunity to learn more about you as I observe. When neonates interact with kind they all used to hold dear, their true natures are laid bare before everyone else is to see. Of course he's invested in being kind to you. Or is he making it clear his self-serving intentions that you don't start fighting them out with yourself? Any objections? Any alternatives are probably worse. You shake your head. Very well, I'll arrange a meeting and drive you there tomorrow. Back out with a load of bull that's easy to swallow. He disappears from an apartment, leaving you as confused as the last time he closed the door on you. God damn it, you need to think this through. For as long as you sit in your haven, lost in thoughts, remembering how once you thought the world had ended with her leaving, whining sure, but seemed it felt like pristine whining. Okay, so we're gonna do this, somebody watching me, and then we're probably gonna do another curry. Try and get someone else on the curry. You come in your haven when the intercom rings. Answering cautiously, you hear an older male voice. Hello, I'm calling because a friend asked me to come by and offer you my services. Who is this? It's not important. The man sounds excited, breathing hard. I need something to go on. She told me not to talk about this thing in public. I know you're one of them. Please, it's alright. I don't mind. You can drink me if you want. If you understand what I mean. A man you've never seen before is paying a visit to an apartment not many people know of, offering you to feed from him. Let's continue this face to face. That's a wonderful idea. A silence. A minute pauses and you hear a knock on the door to your haven. You cautiously open the door. The stranger looks sheepishly. He's in his phase, dressed in clean business suit. He looks moderately successful. Someone you can meet in an investment bank. I'm sorry. That's why I called from downstairs. Come in. "You're not coming, I was hungry anyway." The man looks comically satisfied as you usher him into your haven. He barely waits for you to close the door before he loosens his collar, closes his eyes and bares his neck in a quivering expression. You look at the man, taken aback by such forwardness. Figuring you don't have to invite the man in here for a chat, you lean in close, take him by the shoulders and sink your teeth fangs into him. It's not an unpleasant feed. You reflect as the blood flows into your mouth. Food comes to your door of its own volition. The man moans from the drink. You lost in the ecstasy of the kiss. Feels a little unseemly, but it would be cullish to begrudge him for his pleasure. Taking care to not drink too much, you let him go of the man after licking the wound's closed. Suddenly, you're starting to feel a surprising slight. A woman, not very old, strangely dressed, is looking at you intently, only an arm's length away. Before you can react, the mysterio opens the door, vanishes in the light, leaving to wonder whether you really saw her. As you stare, confused, the man you drank from slips from your haven into the hallway, staggering a little from the effects of the kiss. You close your door, wondering what this was all about. At least you got fed, if nothing else. Sophie suggests meeting Hope, a reclusive member of Malkavian. Oh, yeah, we're good. Oh, no, we need to rest. That took up a whole night. Oh, that sucked. Knock, knock, knock. Who's there? But you don't know if the sheriff of New York City... Knock, knock. You'd ask who's there, but you don't know if the sheriff of New York City would play along. When you open the door, you see him toying with the car keys he's holding in his hands. Ready to go, fledgling? You don't like it, but you give him a nod nevertheless. Excellent, stay close. He leads you down to the vehicle he's parked nearby. Once again, he takes the wheel, literally and figuratively. Everything inside is just where you remember it, down to the rear view mirror reflecting the intense stare of your guide. However, the trip itself is notably different. The last time Kadar drove you, he was forcibly dragging you away from your life. This time, he's pulling you back into it. All things you wanted to say to Jessica run through your head. Let me tell you how it's gonna go. As I said, we arranged a meeting between you and your kin. It's going to take place somewhere you should know very well. I'll watch over you from a safe distance to make sure you adhere to the rules. You should know those very well, but I'll restate just so you can't say I didn't warn you. Don't do anything that would violate the Masquerade. Don't establish some secret rules of contact. I will know. Do not treat it as the last time. You two will meet. Take this chance to wrap everything up. Do treat it as the last time you'll ever meet to wrap this up. This is your story. You're fine, finding yourself at a crossroads. You decide to radically change your life and move out of the city. The subway is unbearable, the rent is too high, you've heard it all. You were ready to leave New York for good when you heard about the absurd rumors of taking your own life, so you've decided to set the record straight. He gives you a knowing look. And closing the curtains on the relationship once and for all on your terms. The car makes a sudden turn. I'll leave the finer details to you. Just be so kind and don't make me regret it. You can sense he's going out of his way for you, but doesn't try to force you into gratitude by staring at you plainly. If you know, you know. He'll see you if you're worthy of his aid. We're here. You take a look around and recognize your destination. You're right, it is a familiar place. It's a club, the one where you met your future sire while trying to forget Jess. This is where they last saw poor Gawain. Who knows whether they might have happened into him. One Jessica Lowe is trying to find out. You got a tip from an unknown source saying that you might appear here tonight. Wouldn't want to disappoint the lady, would you? She's apparently quite disgruntled, distraught. He turns off the engine, relaxes comfortably in his seat. You silently leave the car and head straight to the club. The last time you were heading this way, you still had a pulse. Feels almost nostalgic. There's a party getting started with some rookie DJ trying to read the crowd. You begin looking for Jess. You wonder if what the first thing you say to her should be. You really took me for a suicidal type. Yeah, that should work. The music is pulsing. There's a good vibe in there. You spot a girl hurrying over to the bathroom with a nosebleed. The smell is faint, but it gets you in the mood to have some fun. However, Qatar indicates that there are a pair of eyes around here somewhere. Better stick to the plan. A stupid idea pops in your head. If you meet her and she says, I want to be with you again, what do you do? Reject the idea immediately. What done is done. Best not to dwell on it. but by now it feels like you've explored the place Jessica could have been. It's getting frustrating. You grab the cheapest drink they have from the bar. A tall blonde woman in a stylish skirt smiles at you from behind the heart-shaped glasses. You smile back at her, but this is no time for a heart to guide the hand. You walk past her, back to your duty. You mimic it taking a sip from a drink. God, you could have had so much fun tonight. You could... Accidentally, you stumble into Jessica when you least expect it. She looks at you as if seeing a ghost. You freeze up, trying to come up with something to say and failing. The last few years of your life flash before your eyes. Wait, what was the line you decided to open the conversation with? Before you remember, a powerful slap takes you out of your stupor. You stupid motherfucker. Guess she gets the first line. You realize you spilled the drink all over your clothes. I've been so worried. I've been so fucking worried. Called everyone. I knew to look for you. And you just having fun clubbing? You thought it would be funny to drop all contact with everyone, pretend something happened to you. What, you want to see my reaction? She slaps you again. You let some sort of dislocation set in and you watch the situation as it unfolds. Let everybody know that I'll let everyone know, okay, but don't ever show yourself in front of me again. She turns her back on you and disappears into the crowd, walking towards the exit. You look around. You notice the heart-shaped glasses girl clunking in the distance. You're no longer in the mood to party. Guess you'll follow Jessica's lead and leave. Better not to keep the sheriff waiting. Well, at the very least you can say this. She still cares. That's nice. But back in Kudar's car, once you close the door, he instantly puts his foot on the gas pedal. Walking off the pitch with no regrets. Said everything you had to say? You speak up without thinking. Yeah, she said she'd call off the search. Getting her to accept that it was over took her some harsh words, but deep down I think she knew it was time to say farewell. Once and for all, she's a little shaken up, but she'll live. You spot a playful spark in Kudar's eyes. You took care of it like a man, did you? Very good. The people we know in life have this tendency to briefly reappear in our own lives. One night, let's say 25 years from now, she might spot you on the street. You won't have an age a day from now, and even though she'll tell herself it can't be you, she'll be jealous. And if you look happy, she'll regret over what could have been. So for the sake of your night paths crossing again, I hope you'll search for your own happiness. That's nice, Kudar, thank you. The car speeds up across the intersection before the lights turn red. You give Kudar a good, hard look. Thank you. Thanks. It doesn't feel like a, how do you call it, very vampiric thing to say, but you say it no less. He's visibly taken aback, and his unusual forward bow smooths him out for a moment. Then he takes a serious, slightly sorrowful expression. Don't suck up to me, kid. Mr. Bad Guy is still here, and without doubt, he will go back to decapitating suckers like you any time now. The car starts to slow down. We're here. You look out the window and see your haven. Take care. I'll see you around. Just pray I don't have to see you too often. You leave the car and start walking to your haven, thinking about Kudar. Can't you say you're fond of him with that? Welcome he gave you and all. But that's tonight. You can't say you aren't either. You're gonna need more time to understand him. That's for sure. They're gonna go searching for hope because I want to get a Markavian friend. We're going very much low clan, which I mean. We got like 4 low clans and 1 high clan. But we're gonna go with Malkavian. It's a quiet, moody internet cafe. Half of its space serves as a comfy coffee bar these days. But behind the glass wall, it still is a space dedicated to rows of PCs. Far from the streets, you can notice the tired adults in casual clothing, typing away absent-mindedly, and some bored kids wasting hours in late hours of colorful online games. I'm gonna take another drink of what I have. Hang on. Just noticed on that. Let me check this. Anyway. Sorry. Anyway, if Sophie's intent is to be believed, this is where Hope has set up her haven. Sorry about that. One of the waiters is standing outside the building, gazing at the sky with a smartphone in one hand and a vape pen in the other. You approach the man and tell him, I'm supposed to meet Hope here? If I told you I was supposed to meet Hope here, what would you say to me? I'd probably tell you I'm surprised. People are usually far more discreet about seeing her. The man slowly takes a drag from his e-cigarette, sizing you up and down in silence. After a long awkward moment, he raises his voice again. Come in, right this way. He heads back into the cafe. You follow his lead. When you make your way through the space of the computers, no one of us gaze from the spreadsheets, emails, Facebook profiles, and games of Fortnite. Okay, Fortnite exists. All right. It's a common sight, one you wouldn't have paid much attention to a few weeks ago, but now it seems unnervingly quaint. Would they still be spending their time together if they knew they were immortal? White unlocks an unassuming door at the end of the room and lets you inside. You two swiftly make your way through a labyrinth of sterile grey corridors, taking a confusing, twisting turns. Feels like you're traveling into a different world, crossing one invisible portal after another. Eventually, you've reached your destination. Your guide monitors you to enter a dark room with a lone source of pale light, a computer screen in the distance, beckoning you to come closer. What night are we even on? I don't know. I've lost track of nights. Actually, no. Okay, bye. Okay, cool. I just don't know which night. All right. Eventually, you reach your destination. Guide motions you to enter a dark room with a lone light source on a pale light. A computer screen in the distance beckoning you to come closer. As you do, you hear the door shut behind your back, and a soft chuckle echoing behind it. Is this the place? Nothing else to do but sit in a chair in front of a computer. The monitor displays a modern chat application. A cursor is blinking in the user's nickname entry field in the middle of the screen, obviously expecting you to input some in your handle. After brief consideration, you type in something goofy. Maybe it's your new firearm sensibilities going haywire, but this place is a barely noticeable sleazy aura. Might as well go along with it. You input Porno's collector and push the enter button, of course. After a few seconds, the chat window opens and the message starts appearing on the screen in quick succession. Hostage executioner. Just to be... Ooh, flip. Does this just keep going on? Okay, cool. Oh my god. Okay, that's a good way. Hostage, just to be... HE, just to be clear, I don't have a hand crack. LMO cult. First victim, oh for sure. Oh no, for real. Oh, this is meant to be Jerry. Meant for Jerry, of course. Just here, not much longer. Yeah, Jerry is a chat MVP. HE, I mean, I've administered far worse things on here. Oh god, I'm sorry. Hey G, not sure why I'd have to need to lie about this one. MG, literally, who cares? Tell guy, you and me both, bozo. Hardsfield, wait, who is Porno's collector? PC, sure. Actually, no, yeah, PCs. PC, no idea. If new user wasn't here a second before. What the hell? Was anyone informed? No announcement. I know I wasn't, Jerry. Identify yourself in 2 minutes or get banned. The chat goes silent. Everyone's seemingly waiting for you to say something before proceeding. This must be a close-knit group. Better say something quick before you get kicked out. I'm looking for Hope. Is she here? Who the fuck are you? This means... Oops. Who the fuck are you? This was meant to be a safe channel. Investigating what went wrong. How did you even get in here? Stay calm. Can you get the location, Jerry? Lol, yeah, sure. That's our Jerry. Gonna DM it to anyone interested. Oh boy, now you're in trouble if he see honest today. Yeah, you're gonna regret it, dumbass. It's the day you decide. You're gonna regret the day you decide to spy on us. I don't think Princess works overnight for sure. You had enough of these trash talks, randoms. Time to teach them some respect. Your blood fires up, ancient powers start coursing through your veins, typing on the keyboard buttons on their own. You people better stay quiet if you know what's good for you. You will have no idea what's messing. Oh god, we're an idiot. We're a goddamn idiot. We're an idiot. We're a straight up idiot. You will obey me. The chat goes silent when one explodes. Haha, what am I looking at here? Low. Oh shit, watch out, he's starting properly. You have no idea who you're messing with. This would piss me off. This would be so pissed if I missed this. You know what he means business. Yeah, okay, that would be. Yes, your brows don't work online. Go figure. You know your cheeks would be blood red right now if you still could. Got the info. Nice. You want to die, asshole? You will die. You will die. Die. I'm gonna get everyone's sentencing PC to death. One collected to death. I'm literally one trying to kill you right now. Yeah, sorry for getting info from you. You're about to die. Rip, bitch. You're gonna get your slow fit right here, right now. The split second after you're reading that message, you feel someone's arms tied around your neck. The violent return to your reality clashes you off guard. A jolt panic rushes through your brain, paralyzing you momentarily. You've come to the wrong chat room, motherfucker. A ridiculous whisper rings out next to you. The grip under your head gets even tighter. You start to struggle, even with your newfound supernatural strength. You have a hard time breaking out. This is a normal human strategy you're dealing with. Last words? Good luck, I can't die. Good luck, I can't die. Just because you're kindred, got some bad news for you. The hand holding your chin shifts surplus. Don't struggle, I'll break your windpipe. Or my phone, which would be even worse for you. Don't struggle, I will break or my phone, which would be even worse for you. The sound of camera shutters flash. Did they just take selfies with you? Alright, that's enough fun. I'm letting you go. You can have a talk. We can have a talk. Don't do anything stupid, Mr. Intruder. Please. The mysterious assailant loses their grip on you and you gently pushes away. You quickly turn to Burke and look at them. Let me just finish this. The pale blonde woman is in her 20s. Gives you a slight judgmental look, rapidly typing on her phone screen. First, you notice the outrageous outfit, seemingly thrown together from random thrift store finds. Then you take a note of her tattoo, sprawling tapestry of odd patterns and design covering every visible part of her body. At first glance, it all seems aimless, but it has constance, sense of style upon closure or exception. Eyes focus on you for a second. Gave you a scare, huh? Sorry, that's what you get for entering a lady's haven without her permission. And she's back to her phone. With a relatively small build, it's hard to believe you had trouble overpowering her physically. But then again, nothing is what it seems when it comes to undead. Even compared to vampires you've met so far, she seems eccentric, curious presence. She is something off a glance, noticing you're still curious of her. Calm yourself, man. I won't pull out anything like that anymore. It's just, feel stupid saying out loud, a vibe check. Vibe check. Yeah, I got a glimpse of your vibe on the internet and in a dangerous situation. I'd say you're a pretty good idea about who you really are. I'm Hope, by the way. If you're here, you probably heard of me, so I went ahead and skipped the pleasantries. But come to think of it, I might have skipped too many of those. She definitely fits the description you were given to by Sophie. Still, I can't believe you got so mad online. You actually tried to use your powers on people talking trash about you from who knows where. Jesus. But I kind of respect for dedication. It's amusing. Oh yeah, credit where it's due. You're probably not boring a person online, going by your choice of handle. Believe it or not, among bloodsuckers, that's rare as hell. Most of them are clueless baby boomers when it comes to internet stuff. Anyway, don't worry about the chat. It's all a game to us. No hard feelings, okay? I'll introduce you properly later. On the monitor, chat continues normally. Your visit is like yesterday, news, no longer relative to anything. But, if we're gonna talk to you about you, you should have something to say. What are you doing here? About time, she asked. Note to self, she really loves the sound of her own voice. I'm building a coterie. I'm looking for people to join my coterie. Coterie. Being there, done that. Not interested unless... She takes a closer look at you. Her eyes go wide. Wait. Shit, are you one of those are you the new Langley plaything? The word seems to get around fast. Of course you are. It's obvious the second Langley got her hands on your new servant, she'd start building a network. Your ambitions tell me that could really come in handy when... But Langley, that's a risky game. This kind of ambition attracts too much attention. Piss off. But then again, fuck Kara. She seems to be having a spirited argument with herself. Only parts of it audible. Is it just you, or does her facial expression and body language changes a bit between one sentence and the other? Before you make certain, it's not just your eyes playing tricks with you. She focuses half her attention back on you. The other half on the course is still obsessed with her smartphone. Listen, I'm not saying I'm not interested in cooperation, but before I make a decision, I need to make sure you sort of understand me and that I sort of understand you. And since I was planning on putting a show before you came here, how about I propose a little game? Hope absently spins her phone in her hand. Considering how to put through her words, considering how to put her thoughts into words. Then she approaches a switch on the wall and flicks it. Neon lights flare up, illuminating the room. You take a look around. The room is certainly unique. It's like a butcher's room, repurposed to be a living space. The modern computer in front of it starkly contrasts with an ominous and industrial walls. At the back is an overwrought bed covered in velvet and with meat hooks hanging above it. On top of the bedsheet, you notice what seems to be piercings of elaborate S&M gear and a camera. Wait a minute. You want to help me? Moderate my cam show? Cam show. Your eyes twitch involuntarily. This is definitely not the kind of request you hear tonight. She notices your confusion. Take it or leave it, buddy. You can become a kindred, but you want to become my partner in crime? Show me you can handle yourself while watching my back in my everyday environment. She's serious. The show starts in 10 minutes. If you think yourself better than this, better walk out the door right now. I don't hold a grudge. I've got bad things to do. As if to prove this, she takes a look at some displays on her phone, cracks a brief grin, and tap, then reply type down with an absurd speed. Tap. 9 minutes. It looks now or never. Show moderation. Risk of violating a masquerade. High. Content warnings. Oh yes. So, do you take the job? Why the hell not? Hope brightens up. Her smile is surprisingly sincere. Excellent. I hope to find something more interesting. I hope you might find this interesting in more ways than one. Alright, give me a second. She spends a few minutes setting up the computers with you before, then urges you to sit down. Then the extended explanation of moderation functions is simple. It boils down to ignore anyone who doesn't disrupt the chat, ban anyone who does, and kick anyone who's causing minor trouble. 5 minutes later, she's already online, sitting on a bed in a provocative pose. It's a sex show, isn't it? Her voice, previously hushed, rings out at full force. How are you doing tonight, Hope? Oh my god. That's a bad follower name, Hopefuls. She's peeking at chat. Covenant. Oh, you're not worthy. We are not worthy, queen. Fucking angel to a crying face. Hell yeah. Time to fuck. None of these are bad yet. None of these are like worth. None is spamming. None are like no. You're tempted to try out the kick and ban prompts as soon as possible, but obviously you won't punish someone for the little dirty talk. Thank you. Tonight's show is quite special. Please welcome a new moderation for lol. Oh, who? I'm sorry for sentencing you to death earlier. At least the community here seems a bit more welcoming this time. Looks like this place has established a hazing ritual, or maybe they and Hope come up with specifically one for you, who knows. You decide to stay quiet. Eventually people stop riffing on you and decide to focus entirely on the star of the show. Alright, let's start this one bang, shall we? It begins, Queen. Oh boy, she's gonna do it. Nothing bad, yeah. So this is where the show starts. You raise your hand, curious about what kind of performance she's gonna do. First, she opens her mouth and relieves her retractable fangs in front of the camera. Okay. Right off the bat, the audience is treated to the sight of a wholly human set of teeth turning into monstrous maw. The image is both revolting and fascinating. She raises her left wrist and everyone else to see, then bites. Her fangs immediately tears open her arm in a horrific, gory mess. It's unclear if she's used them to slash or bite, but the other thing is for sure no ordinary human could cause that much damage. Actually, you'd be surprised, our teeth are quite sharp. Don't bite your wrist. No. If an ordinary human would suffer such a wound, you'd expect guys of blood to appear, but it doesn't. Hope's technically a corpse, so it's impossible. She flashes a monstrous smile and starts smearing the V-tie all over her hand and maximizing her impact of the violent imagery. Then she starts to drink it up. She makes it a point to make it as slight as gruesome as possible, even looking like a hyena frenzying on a corpse. The contrast between of her behavior with her look on Instagram model is stunning. Once she's done, she reveals her wrist on camera for the last time. She starts making theatrical gestures with her right hand as if the wound begins to meld. Shortly after the wound is gone, like a magician's trick, her left hand looks like nothing bad ever happened to it. Here's an appetizer. First blood to kick off the show. While you're wondering what the hell is going on, Hope catches a glimpse of your bewildered face and turns to your direction. Now, how's that for an opening? Okay. Weirdly, not technically snuff. Because no one died. But yeah, this is not a sex show? This isn't a sex show? Sex. Well, you can't be getting naked in front of you or something? Oh honey, we just met each other. You expected a strip show? Yeah, sorry to disappoint. This is more like a live stream digital art. The erotic subtext is there, of course. You peek up a chat, they're going wild. She did that for free. I'd love to lick your wrist clean, my fallen angel. Ha, yes. Nothing more arousing than beautiful woman sitting on the edge of oblivion. A rose petal dancing in the eyes of the rival hell arcade. Okay, weird. But eroticism is not the key here. It's vampirism. It's a new frontier. A living art installation. In the early 90s, the Japanese artists produced these videotapes of beautiful women committing gory hariki. They're another inspiration. She bears her fangs again in a Davros grin. But I'm not interested in auto-describing or turning myself into a victim. Or description or turning myself into a victim. This is a celebration of a body I love, not a self-inflicted punishment. The audience came here to marvel at a beautiful vampire and her awe-inspiring powers. Mending wounds is just one of these powers. The people watching can pay to see more. Oh, and don't worry, the only thing the audience can see over here and here are things I allow them to. We can talk freely, just remember to moderate the chat, will you? High risk of violating the vampire of the Masquerade. What a joke. She's blatantly breaching in front of anonymous viewers. Still speechless, you turn attention to the screen. I'm feeling generous today. Have you planned your attention tattoo? Looks like pink marshmallow covered in raspberry. I'll pay for next attraction. You plan the next two. I'm feeling generous today. Okay, nah. No one's really breaking what I'd imagine from the chat here. Like nothing's really obnoxious. Yes. Yeah, plan to your next tattoo. First victim off it. Pay for your next attraction. I'll look for a pink marshmallow. First victim, I'll let you know. And specific time. I know you're based. I know. Okay, hang on. You let the guy vent his excitement. Seems harmless. A special message appears on the chat log, seemingly claims someone has successfully sponsored the first goal of the show. Hope smiles and yeah, like no one seemed like that bad at that point. Am I just a random type message isn't like the worst. So like I'm taking in the context of what this show is and stuff. Hope smiles and picks up a bag of blood from underneath the bed. It must have been retrieved from a blood bank. She showcases the label on camera for everyone to see. Have a drink up. Okay, yeah. Hope pours all of the containment into a bag and throw. You have no doubt it's real blood, but wonder why the viewers would be so satisfied with something that's so easily faked. It's vampires. Don't worry, it pays well enough. You don't even bother to tell her that it's not what you're thinking about. It's safe to assume she knows. So do you want to know about the kindred and the internet? Have they told you anything? While she's waiting for someone to sponsor the next vampiric feat, you decide to start a conversation. Is there a vampire internet? Is there a vampire internet? If something looked like the vampire internet, stay away. See, some of us used to experiment with our own secure networks. We tried to build our own information hubs, social networks, and everything. She's still working the phone in one hand while looking for something under the bed with her other. How many things can she concentrate on at a time? And then one day, the NSA got into it. Turns out the elders never really got the hang of proper security procedure. All the signals that they might smear on the screens didn't work as advertised. Well, of course, all of the other three-letter agencies involved got the intel, and a lot of them decided bloodsuckers were the perfect new enemy for our post 9/11 times. The Second Inquisition came along. Ever heard of it? Killed them. She's not exactly correct, otherwise we don't actually know how the government's going to StrikeNet. It's not really stated. They just managed to break in, which is bizarre. My fan theory is it was the technocracy. My fan theory of the meta plot is it was the technocracy. Basically, my idea could be very much wrong when Mage 5th edition comes out. Is the technocracy after seeing the events of the Week of Nightmares decided to be like, alright, vampires are a big enough threat to the world to cause an apocalyptic threat, plan to put an end to this. And set up the Second Inquisition as like sporadic groups to hunt down vampires so they wouldn't have to waste their awakened agents on it. That's my theory. A lot of our kind died just because they were too present online. Right now, that remains our old network severed as the government hotpots. Keep it alive to attract fledglings and hunt them down. You can post a certain keyword on Twitter or Facebook and you get tagged for investigation. You fit certain patterns, you get tagged for investigation. So there's a certain thrill to becoming an online presence while attracting the attention of the authorities. Stretches out on her bed. I hope they're still monitoring this chat. Of course not. You're not as good at dividing your attention as she is. You correct your mistake and check for recent messages. Is she talking to someone? Can't wait for the real thing to start. 2 more to set up rules. Call of Duty on one. Screen drop dead holidays on another screen. But only when I am doing. Okay, yeah. We're banning that. The kind of nickname only suggests trouble. You get rid of them prematurely. Good job. She keeps close tabs on you. Anyway, yeah. When Nostro admitted to the Camarilla networks got compromised, the elders went bash insane. Internet communications became strictly forbidden. There you go. God damn it. Sorry. The internet communications became strictly forbidden. There were executions. A lot of people who use social media to secretly contact their mortal families and loved ones got offed. That goes without saying. But if you weren't careful, even the most innocent web usage could result in a big punishment with final death. Thanks to the user Dick Steele, the next goal has gotten to successfully funded. Let's go, Vanishing Act, dehumanize yourself and face with bloodshed. What? She raises her hand, 3 fingers up, 2 fingers up, then 1 finger up. The countdown ends and she merely disappears from the screen like a ghost. You can still see her on the bed, but the live feed indicates that no one's there. You're deeply focused on the digital image. You swear you can make out some visual glitches of her silhouette. Should be, but it could be very well placed. It could very well be a placebo. You ready for this? 3, 2, 1. A flash of the camera, and instantly she reappears on the screen. She takes a selfie, sticks her tongue out in a provocative manner. The chat room explodes in cheers. She is their vampire queen. You briefly wonder about her being glued to the screen. Is this the fantasy everyone is here for? A girl showing off cheap magic tricks while lazily browsing social media? You realize you are way out of your depth here. Meanwhile, Hope decides to continue her lecture. There are some wild times, especially in New York. While most of us have no clue of our real nature, while most of them have no real clue of our real nature, a lot of clandestine organizations have classified us as national threats. And since this is where the towers fell, agencies are very much real present around here, looking for easy PR victories. The last SI raid here was just a few years ago, and it was a big one. Stirred up the hornet's nest something fierce. But although it's 2019, NYC is still ruled by someone who got embraced before World War II, and the cam as a whole got real spooked and swore off the internet. Of course, they're not dumb, and they understand they can't really coexist with the modern kind without the internet. It's a grey zone right now, like piracy, technically frowned upon, but let the one without the sin cast the first stone. The SI is a real threat, no joke, but in many senses, the darkest place is right here under the candle. Take another look at the screen. We want blood. Bad stuff. Can you do bad stuff? Can you show us next? It's been a long hard day. Please give me more shout out. Familiar nickname pops up. Okay. We'll kick them. I don't think this is ban worthy. This is like more a kick. You give a guy a kick for spamming chat. The message is deleted so fast. Hope might not have noticed. A duty carried out well. You're supposed to feel an inkling of pride. Oh well, fun fact about being a vampire. We can sweat and pee if we exert ourselves really hard. Some of us can even orgasm. We can cry, but we only... Okay, well, the first two is the weird starting point there. If someone... It's something I've always dreamed of doing when I was 14. So romantic, it drives me crazy. As proof of her words, scarlet tears run down her face, and the chat goes wild. This seems to be exactly the kind of thing they've been waiting for. An angel fell down for heaven, crying, OMG, and you did again, beautiful. Hope the tortured soul finds steady ventilation. Can you imagine the US assembling a bloodsucker squad that would... Can you imagine the US assembling a bloodsucking squad that would just cruise by the border and suck out of any of the illegals they found? That would give me... I don't know if we should ban him or kick him for that, because that is a charged thing. That's bordering on haste, a bit of hate speech, so I'm gonna go burn and banned. Just to be clear, what we're doing here is blatantly a breach of Masquerade, right? I honestly expected you to leave or inform someone now, but you haven't, have you? Try and focus on the chat. A familiar nickname is displayed on the screen. We're gonna kick them again. 3 strikes. One more kick. One more familiar messages. Okay, they're getting banned now. You double check. That message has sent out last time. Is he copying and pasting or something? Looks like Mr. Masquerade needs a longer break. After you ban him, you hear Hope's voice. Good job handling that guy. Great, if nothing else works out, it seems like you fit in the job at very least. In any case, the last goal has been funded. It's time for the great final. This is what you've been waiting for, right? Yes, Queen, yes. I don't know why the formatting on this one just messed up. Her voice has changed. She's getting close to the camera, letting her face fill the frame in the live feed. Her mesmerizing eyes are focused on purely the viewers. You wanted blood? Come out to the streets. Claw out your neighbor's throats. Slash their veins and drink up. Yes, Queen, yes, Queen, yes. Okay, that's fine. Hope's presence becomes absolutely terrifying. It's influencing the chat in inconference ways. Everyone starts typing like they're possessed. Liberate yourself from the shackles of ordinary morality. Make them scream. Feel the warmth of their intros. This is getting close to the Sabbat. What the hell is she doing to these people? What have you gotten yourself into? Transcend your bodies, release a message of hope into the world. She jerks violently for a second and falls down on the bed like a marionette and had just had strings severed. She exhales loudly a few times, and laughter. When she's done, the room goes dark again. Alright, that's enough. Instead of continuing, she does something with her phone, the stream ends, and the chat instantly becomes dead quiet. Let me take over. The atmosphere of the room is completely changed. She's already put herself together and stood up, and she's walked over towards you. At Volga, what the fuck happened? Jerry, guess the show's over now. Everyone relax and go home. I was almost ready to come, bro. Oh my god. Hostage, I swear my father's grave day. I will find you and kick you. I will share. Every line she delivers, she changes her voice, the way she puts her lips together. And even when she moves. You got a glimpse of her acting this way, but only now are you starting to figure it out. But it's impossible. But that's impossible. I'm immortal, I'm bored, and separated from most vampires in the city by generational chasm. I'm so goddamn lonely. The internet used to be my only friend. Years ago, I started researching tuplers, collective consciousness. Is all this mumbo jumbo at the intersection of psychology and spirituality, and I decided to experiment. The show was fake. A few years later, I was on an Instagram fashioneer, a successful erotic model, a vital part of the pop culture kabla, a viral shit poster, a cryptocurrency expert. Wow, you are a horrible person. Ooh, okay, sorry. My disdain for NFTs just kind of spelled out of me then. All of my internet cells started signaling, boosting each other, paving the way for the new one. I became a one woman empire surrounded by legions of psycho fans. The chat was fake. Some may think of it as a disco DID, but that's bullshit. Everyone has online alter egos they buried. I've resurrected them, gave birth to new ones, and let them crossbreed. Her constant tapping on her phone, even during the show. Somehow she's capable of impersonating an entire chat room. I don't even have a self that could dissociate or be mentally ill. I'm a host, a living database. I live because I find it fun to be an information conduct, to process trends and support the ones I deem worthy. There was no Masquerade violation. She was showing off her skills all along. She put you into a world of pure fiction, the same way she was testing you when she attacked you from the back. Damn it, she's good at this. Of course you can just ignore what I'm saying. I'm just another deranged Machiavellian. But hey, annihilation of the self is one way to survive the 21st century. If there was an era where that demanded images of beautiful people transcending beyond humanity and inspiring others to do the same, it's this one. Although, for now, because of Masquerade, my audience is quite limited. Speaking of, you want to be a star of my next movie? Sure, why not? I had a hunch you'd say that. Still, hey, in a way, it's too transcending a bond beyond self. But yeah, your test is over. Now the question is, do I want to work with you? She puts away her phone for the first time since you met and gives you a good hard look. Guess I could give it a shot, but not that dumb. You're not that dumb. You're not that boring, and you're kind of cute. Don't worry, no more modeling jobs. Mods get attached. Modding jobs. Mods get attached, and they're always bad news. She grabs your arm and starts leading you out of her room. I put you through shit. Next time, I'll let you on a little job I'm doing. We'll hit the streets and we'll see why Sophie told you to contact me. She leads you through the labyrinth of grey corridors. It's a different route than the one you made your way through in. This city is so much more than elites consider real. Stick with me and I'll guide you to a place the Camarilla elders couldn't reach in 100 years. She leads you out of the building, back into the back alley. Even if someone else rules the street, we rule the information highways. This is a power of hope. She lets out a theatrical laugh and disappears. You won't even notice when she leaves. You are alone. You assume everything went as well as it could. A new ally, the power of hope. As you walk off into the night, everything around you feels a little less tangible than it did a few hours ago. Okay, so there's no night counter. Okay, cool. We got Power of Faith and Hope on the other side. So we're going to do the first part of the Power of the Hope on the other side, and then we might do the Power of Faith part 3. When you get to the internet cafe, Hope is already waiting out front. The sight catches you off guard. A part of you suspected she might be more of a shut-in. My haven is my castle type. Perfect timing. We need to go out for a ride. Get in. She won't wait for a response. She jumps the wheel of the lavender vintage roadster. The engine starts roaring exponentially, causing everyone's head to turn. Not wanting to attract needless attention, you quickly simp in behind the back seat. The moment you shut the door, behind the vehicle sets off, tires screeching. Sorry for abrupt bringing you up to speed first, but hey, this is NYC. Everyone's always in a rush, and this is everything. This is even more true when you're kindred. Now, allow me to take care of some business, and we'll be right with you. Even if she's zooming through traffic, she's still on the phone, of course. Nice car. Nice car. How did you afford it? Thank you. The lavender really brings out a character, doesn't it? About affording things in the city, it's pretty hard. You gotta be on top of your game at all times. Might as well explain my business plan to you while I'm at it. So another extremely unaligned Malk named in New York goes by Devnull! Oh my god, hell yeah! Sorry, Devnull is a character from Devnull is a character from the Vampire Masquerade Redemption. I played that on my channel previously. Devnull's it's just cool. He shows up in the New York section of that game. Told me about Google and Ethereum a few years ago. Now that's how I got into Bitcoin. I founded a new religion. 23-year-olds selling versions of governments began coding and decentralized consensus. Masters will obey algorithms just as the laws of physics. Idiot man children investing, trying to shape their realities through sheer fanatic zeal. Collectors of things abstracted as rare as SHI-24 decryptons. Her driving style is far more aggressive and dangerous than you're comfortable with. It is just you, or does she peek into the rearview mirror more often than she looks straight ahead? A hyper-surveillance environment where nothing has real value. Only abstract beliefs matter, and your life's savings can be ruined in a single bullshit tweet. How could I refuse their law? I started buying low and selling high in variety of shady 24/7 exchanges, allowing me with 100% leverage, as in, they'd loan me 100% capital and I would bet with. I got lucky in the beginning and kept ball rolling, shorting and loaning, impulsive and reckless. I got to a point of view I became too big to fail, and that's when I cashed out. The car comes to a bump and then against the seat in front. Okay, this story will continue later. We're here, right at our first stop. I'll need you to do me a favor. What favor? What favor? Nothing too difficult. Literally a jump in, jump out kind of deal. See that weird guy in the Yankees cap around the corner? Approach him, tell him you're young, hot, padding, and give him, and take the phone he gives you, and bring it here. Get going, honey. It's illegal to park here. You jump out of the car and approach the man. Hope has pointed out. Not a lot can be told about him based on his appearance, aside from the fact that he seems pretty shady. I'm gonna take another drink because we're like 2 hours in. We got an hour to go. Again, I have no idea how long this game is, but hey. Oh, that's better. You jump out of the car and approach the man Hope has pointed out. Not a lot to tell about him based on his appearance, aside from the fact he seems pretty shady. The guy assumes a comically frank pose as you approach. What the hell do you want? I'm at young, hot, petite, and genuine. No. Oh, no offense, but I can't expect a girl. I mean, no, yeah, my bad for assuming. Damn. He takes out his phone on his pocket and casually passes it to you. Everything has been preloaded according to your instructions. Should take you 2 minutes to transfer the data. Now get out of here. The man walks away with exaggerated hip-hop gait. You jump back in Hope's car. She immediately steps on the gas. You got a phone? You're the best. Pass it to me, please. She connects with 2 smartphones using a cable to begin some sort of data transfer. Looks like it's an identical model. After a minute or so, the process is completed. Alright, goodbye, lovely. You served me well. Hope opens the car window, grabs her old phone. You're not an expert enough to recognize the exact model, but you definitely looks like it's had an 800 price slapped on it and tosses it out of the window. Surprised, you look behind you as a car in the opposite lane runs over an abandoned device. Hope notices your quizzical look. I've been needing a lot of burner phones lately, and I'm not surprised to use some cheap pieces. I'm not going to use some cheap piece of shit. So it's a pretty expensive necessity. Intersection, red light. She takes advantage of the moment to shoot a driving selfie that extremely excludes her face. You notice the handle is Verisay Beauty? Now, I was telling you a story. Cashing out. Right. At some point around the end of 2007, I became convinced I needed to cash out. There was no way the bubble was going to last forever. I always knew there would be no grapes of wrath for the cryptocurrency era. It would have to be a series of profound antisocial, disconnected events. The whole crypto culture was decentralized church of lonely millennials who rejected established and modern venues and atoning for their original sin by not buying Bitcoin back in 2013. Another Rob last second turn. He pressed against the window. What the hell was her driving style? Bet you would never want to live anywhere and get a chance to win a priceless pile of nothing. Untethered yourself from worldly desires. Find joy in suicidal ideation. To this day, money holds no real value for me. It's abstract as a video game score. A bunch of numbers on a sheet. The joyless world changed me forever. I knew I had to escape. So I took a pile of fictional dollars, a new area elite, to a new arena, elite New York social circles. Not because I wanted to scam them and make more, but because I wanted to finally have some goddamn fun. I mean, of course I wanted to scam them in the process, but it was only a service of becoming something more of a star, a constellation. Another abrupt stop, this time next to the entrance of a shifty looking back alley. Alright friend, time for leaky gut syndrome, whistleblower extraordinaire. Whenever a press sneaks funk wants a leak, you got it? Sorry for putting out there in my place. But I only personally contact people as a last resort. Gets harder to protect my identity trying to show my face. And I've got you, a man waiting in the back alley. He's paying back a favor with a flash drive containing crucial information. We need to stay safe in this city. Retrieve it. I will circle the area and make sure we aren't in danger. When you're done, get back in here and we'll pick you up. Everything clear? Good. You exit the car and drive the driver lane in a hurry. Then head down a narrow passageway. Surely enough, there's a man waiting for you in the end of the back street, unshaven, wearing wrinkled clothes, with a nervous eye tick. He looks even dodgier than the last guy you met. When you approach, he gives you a mean look. You lost something? You lost or something? I'm out leaky gut syndrome. You had said something you had interest in me? Of course. Straight to point on you. Alright then. Clumsy, he produces a USB stick from his front shirt pocket and holds it up before your face. When you reach out to take it, he pulls it back and with a sly grin. Getting this data was risky. Mr. Magotti is an unusually secret person. Digging up dirt on him took more effort than expected. Effort that should be rewarded, I think. The more you ask around about her, the more you expect saying, give up your inquiries, or they are completely useless at a doorstep. Perhaps attached to a severed cat head. You catch my drift? Secrecy surrounding her screams friends in high places. Brave new world order. Illuminati shit. You know, makes me think I deserve some hazard pay. I suppose you're right, but what do you want? His eyes widening ran from ear to ear. Not much. I have a $5,000 should be worth the price of my services. Alright, I'll make a deal. I'll transfer you money in account later. Provided the data is legit. No worries. I'm at this point. Just don't fuck me over, alright? You know I can keep digging up useful stuff. He extends his hand and holds a flashlight towards you. You take it. Oh yeah, one more thing. Not really sure what it's about, but one of my informants claims you might be interested in this stuff. He reaches out into his inner jacket and presents you with something wholly unexpected. A bag of blood, labeled ABR. You take a closer look, but it doesn't seem to answer any of your questions that just appears in your mind. You peek into the journalist's cold blue eyes and see them twitch uncontrollably. You ask me. They said you'll know what to do with it. Leaky gut. Come on, take it. Let's have the blood. Fine, I'll take it. You grab a bag. Anything else? Yeah, I don't think so. Thanks for the cooperation. Another eye twitch and an awkward silence. You hide the blood bag under your clothes and leave the alleyway the way you came. Hope's car appears around the corner as you walk in on the other street. It doesn't really fully stop when you approach, but slows down just enough for you to car jump in. The moment you close the door, she leans in the gas pedal, full strength, causing the engine to roar. Her driving style definitely doesn't reflect how laid back she seems as a person. You got it? You float a flash drive in the seat next to her. Perfect. Any problems? How did the meeting go? You relate the back alley encounter towards the end of the story. She notices she's not staring down the road, her phone, but directly at her face. Realization startles you. You got a bag of blood with you. You place it on the seat next to her, and she peeks the label. She looks at it again. Then she steps on the brakes. Fuck. I'm okay. She grabs both of the bags and the flash drives you've established and throws them out the window. Looks like that's her favorite method of taking care of problems. The bag was a message. AB negative used to be my blood type. It's the rarest one, found in less than 1% of the United States population. Glad you didn't drink it. Who knows what it would have done in the bag. Some New York City vets can tell your wild stories while using irrational blood to locate and kill other kindred. Seriously, glad I didn't drink from him. Better safe than sorry. Yeah, still. I wonder if they wouldn't have anything to do with his blood. That is his blood. That would be some kind of 5-dimensional chess move. But yeah, this contract is encompassed. You still need to be carved. Goodbye, my journalist frenemy, and goodbye, dear leaky gut syndrome. You've both outlived your usefulness. As for a brief period of hesitation, she deletes the whistleblower extraordinary account and signals. And another one bites the dust. Thinking about what to say next, you remember that you promised a man that Hope would transfer $5,000 into his account later tonight. A minute. You were done relaying the story, she chuckles. You're already a horrible lover of the deal, aren't you? I suppose the silver lining is that you don't have to worry about that anymore still. It looks like it's a bigger trouble than I expected, but never mind. We've got more stops planned. We've got one more stop planned, and I'll explain everything. I've got another stop to finish. I've got another stop to finish. I was talking about Bitcoin, and then where did I stop? Constellations. Becoming a constellation. Oh, right. You know the real face of the sea, and ever heard of her? A Russian working-class woman, born in Ansokin. She moved into New York in 2013 and convinced everyone she was an insanely rich trust fund kid, a wealthy German heiress. Manhattan Elite totally fell for it, and they bought it for years while she swindled them. She only got arrested in 2017 after stoling almost $300,000. Someone created her Delvey persona out of thin air, convinced everyone that she was going to set up an art fund, and kept testing all of her life's finest pleasures while basically being broke. She even made her fake family financial advisor. She killed him off when it became a liability. Apparently, most of her rich victims never admitted to being scammed out of shame. By now, you're sure of the way she's scrutinizing her surroundings, her reckless driving. She's trying to escape somebody. Now, Darren's locked up with murders and Rikers, writing her memoirs, apparently picking a lot of fights. Bless her heart. She'll forever be an inspiration. But I have more advantages than she did. I have my own considerable funds. I can rely on many more people than just an old-ass-fashioned financial advisor. A whole bunch of fake content creators and influencers that every rich dumbass wants to get in touch with to collaborate. Makes it super easy to earn money than I invest. You've seen it firsthand, both as a deceiver and deceived. It's a sea full of illusions. Make non-existent money. Come up with fictional stats. Play non-essential Camarilla games. And one day, you might find yourself at the top. We're reaching our last stop. You look around. You're coming up to a parking garage. You're going to take an elevator to the 7th floor, give the masked man you meet in front of the door the memory card. Contains an Our House movie I've made. You mean a vampire movie? By Our House, you mean a vampire movie. Yes, a movie that you've seen me rehearse in my haven. You don't think I'm doing it just for show, did you? I found some filthy rich Manhattanite pervs who play fortune for convincing vampire cam shows. I don't pay money, but IT industry connections gave me the idea. When you give them the memory card, we'll give access to tech that should allow us to take on my biggest enemies in the city. So your nickname this time is going to be a Crash. You are momentarily dazed, and you can't immediately understand what happened. The first thing you know for sure is if you were still a normal human, you'd be dead. You replayed the last few seconds in your head. The other car appeared out of nowhere, crashed into his vehicle at maximum speed. It was able to achieve in a closed-off space. The vehicle has already managed to kick open a mangled door. To the next stumbles out of his seat. He wordlessly approaches the truck, and a large caliber silenced pistol on top of it. He starts approaching the lavender wreck of Hope's car, obviously ready to finish the job you started. You have to be fast and violent. It's you or him now. Outrun his gun. Your instincts take over. You move. The world stops moving just as you start running. You can see it. He can see you, of course, but not as well defined shape. It's a blur. It's a speed faster than his aim. You get close to him. He's scared. The next thing you know, he's terrified. A series of swift human punches rapture his body in all horrific ways. His world is briefly turned into an ocean of agony and disappears forever. You stand above the gunman's body, trying to calm yourself and your killer instinct when you hear her voice. Hope slithers out of the car, sees you standing over your assault. Oh, you did pretty good. She approaches the body of the driver you killed and kicks it so she can bear a look at it. Upon seeing the front of the corpse, she lets out an annoyed grunt. Knew it would be this asshole. He's been following us all day, and I know who he belongs to. Even before she started talking, she's already trying to reach someone through with a phone video call. Eventually she succeeds. You see a nonchalant woman in a business casual on the smartphone screen. Kara Monogatari, not Monogatari, that's a Japanese thing. Montgomery. Kara Montgomery. How may I help you? Kara. Hope. Didn't expect you to reach me through this channel, even though I thought... How do you thought things through? Wait, did something happen? Did something happen? Your fucking ghoul just tried to kill me, you crazy bitch. What the fucking happened? Calm yourself, for Christ's sakes. This is a baseless accusation. I know he's Double Spiral. I know he's from Double Spiral. He's been working at your motherfucking company. Come on, you know how I can't be held responsible for independent actions of my subordinates? Why don't we just meet up and talk it over? Hope disconnects the call and instantly blocks Kara from the contact. You corporate shed, you make me sick. Tired, she turns her gaze towards the dead ghoul. I'll dispose of him. Help me put him in the car. 30 seconds later, the body is laying in the backseat of the lavender-colored wreck. Okay, good. You take a look at the scene of carnage in front of you. Every second we're here, we get closer to a serious Masquerade violation. We'll have to exchange my no-worthy masterpiece for goods from another time. She gets behind the wheel, and you follow her inside the car. Meet me in my haven when I tell you it's safe. For now, I need to dump this asshole somewhere. Get the car fixed and plan our next counterattack. You guide Hope to her haven. She drops you off, and before she leaves, she makes what's about to come perfectly clear. If you want to survive in the city, Kara Montgomery needs to die. She disappears into traffic, and you disappear into your place. I'm gonna be right back. I apologize. I'm back. I apologize about that. We're gonna do Faith and Mist Part 3. Approaching the cathedral on the street makes you nervous. You've been here twice, and twice something bad has happened. Or almost happened, as in both cases you ran away. Bernard suggested it's time to stop running and experience faith head on. Perhaps he's right. Maybe it's a coward to take refuge in rationalization when you know what you felt, the holiness of the priest and your own damnation. Walking towards the door of the cathedral, you glance at the bench where you sat when you first met Beanart. He's waiting for you, sitting with the contempt of the cathedral's Gothic architecture. I wasn't sure I'd come. I wasn't certain I wanted to talk to you after last time. I understand. I'm happy you chose to come. Bernard looks different before. Intense, certain. You've had some time to think about what we spoke of before. I want to learn more about Cain. I want to learn more about Cain, about where we all came from. All in good time. I have something different in mind for tonight. I'm sure you'll remember. Let's go and see Father Anthony. It's best not to talk in the cathedral. So I arranged for us to meet him at his home. I have a car nearby. Good idea. That's a good idea. The cathedral has become too exposed. That's what I thought. Something else seemed. Some things are best done with privacy. You follow Bernard as he walks down the street until you come to his car, surprisingly pedestrian family sedan. The essence of Masquerade is incompositionless. Nobody expects a vampire to drive a car like this. Bernard drives north towards Queens. During these moments, you feel almost anonymous, just another speck of dust in a vast machine, where every action influences the whole in the tiny ways. The one thing you learned about the kindred is that they are not lacking in self-regard. The prince of the Camarilla City is said to rule the domain, yet how much of it is really affected by moral affairs? If you ask a vampire, they'll say a lot. Perhaps they have made Vienna turned inwards, the futility of finding meaning in the secret predatory existence. Bennett stops in front of a red brick row of houses, a little rundown, but probably not cheap. Bennett notes your interest. Father Anthony comes from an old New York family. He inherited the house when I first met him. I was suspicious, so I checked up on him. Despite the way he keeps putting up in dangerous situations, kindred paranoia seems natural to Bennett. Perhaps that's something you can learn from him. He knows we're vampires, right? Yes, he knows. He doesn't know everything I've told you about Cade and the First City and so on, but he knows we're no longer human. You follow Bennett to the stairs, looking around for any signs of ambush. As you get close to the door, the first sign of trepidation hits you, the discomfort, the pain that follows once you're inside. It feels like a physical thing, burning sensation under your skin, in your blood. You look back to see Bennett taking it in. He's smiling, his eyes closed for a second before he knocks on the door. Almost as if he's enjoying the sensation. The door opens and you see Father Anthony's kindly face. Your body feels as if it's in a vice. You haven't really bothered by hot or cold since you were embraced, but now it feels like the surface of your skin is overwhelming with sensation. The fear and terror are paralyzing. Yes. Barely hear Bernard whisper. Come in, you two. I might not know much, but I know well enough not to do this on the porch. You force yourself to follow Father Anthony into the apartment, despite displaying headache and raising panic. It's hard to take in your surroundings. Everything seems vibrant, seeking to engulf you. Frames a portraited mantelpiece across the wall. A living room with lots of books, many of them old. I'm not sure I can offer you anything. You don't drink tea, I suppose. No, we don't. We'll just jump straight to the case. Is there salvation for our kind? Please, is there salvation for our kind? There's salvation for everyone. God's grace is infinite. We just have to find you a way there. Father, you know this is difficult for us. You'll forgive me if I don't waste time. Father Anthony looks pained because of what rudeness because of the rudeness or our sympathy for your condition. You can't tell. He motions to you sit down. You and Bennett are both too agitated to do so. You feel trapped, like a moth being smeared against a burning light bulb. It's hard to look at Father Anthony, but you can't look at anything else either. Bennett is starting to increasingly unhinged. His eyes look as if he's about to see something divine beyond just the outside grasp of your senses. Now, Now, the time, my friend. Have you decided if you're ready for salvation? Prove your faith by embracing the Father and letting his radiance envelop you. Hang on. This is slightly worrying, because, please, Bennett, it hurts. Please, Bennett, it hurts. You're damned, it's supposed to hurt. Just kneel and be blessed. As the burning pain rakes your body, Bennett pushes you down to your knees. You don't resist, too consumed by the holy suffering inflicted upon you. Startled, Father Anthony takes a step back. Bennett, what are you doing? Father, it's time to be redeemed, for both of us. Bennett falls to his knees next to you, lifting his face and fully embracing for holy agony. This isn't right, Bennett. Everyone has a chance for salvation. I understand that this is something in God's presence that burns you, but you cannot work through it. Please, Bennett, there are many paths to salvation, and we'll find yours. I won't hurt you or your friend. Bennett moans in pain, striking with grief and disbelief at Father Anthony's refusal. Please, Father. They do not believe. Not truly. Father Anthony looks at you and seems weary. Even his belief in salvation has limits. Those are some choices. Process your belief, run away with celerity, or kill the father. This is already a masquerade breach, but I'd rather not. I don't want to kill the guy. We'll say pressively. I believe, Father. I just need to find a way. Your response made Father Anastasia his roles. He is a man of grace, and he believes that salvation extends to everyone, even vampires. But no, your weakness blinds you. Sometimes a martyr succumbs to a special kind of vanity, where they imagine their pain is holiness. Yet, our goal must always be to help a fellow man on the right path. Ben is still kneeling. He looks at Father Anthony in a confusion and surprise. Please, Father, forgive me, I don't know. Shush, Bernard. We have time to talk. Meanwhile, I think it's better for your friend to leave. I cannot claim to understand the effects I seem to have on you kind, but I'm not convinced it's all sultry. Father looks at you kindly. Go. I hope to talk again, someday. There is hope for Avalon, even you. You wipe tears of blood straining from your cheek. Straggling, you stumble out. You retreat to the door. The distance between you and the father already makes it hurt less. Yet Bernard whispering confessions behind you as you escape into the night. You're safe, but the implications of what you experience are troubling. What does this mean? Whether practical or spiritual, it feels like you have to think about something for a long time. You are free to return to your haven, and there is a distance of temptation to keep events of the night at yourself. Yet these events cannot be good for the masquerade. We'll keep events to ourselves. Good Sophie. Go, keep... Because I think Sophie's lull of humanity just to kill the priest. Actually, I'm 100% she's down for that. Keep events to the night to yourself. Sometimes the right choice is to do nothing at all. You walk back to your haven, alone as usual, among the people who crowd in New York sideways, even at night. Holiness hurts. That's the unescapable conclusion from what happened. Hard to say if words like salvation and damned mean anything in the modern night, but he felt Father Anthony's presence is an unavoidable fact. Father Anthony has his faith, and his faith is key. You could walk right into the church and fondle the cross to your heart's content. None of that means anything. It's only in the presence of living faith that the holiness is manifested. Perhaps one day you'll have the courage to go back to Father Anthony. And we're gonna rest. You come back to your haven after a long night. Right before you open your eyes, you notice something strange. The sound of titillation comes on in your apartment. Madmen, if you're not mistaken. You open your door and carefully peek in. A young, disheveled young woman is caught up on your sofa, has a blanket pulled over her. She seems very comfortable. Next to her lies an obvious, unconscious Pappy woman. Oh, you're home. The woman reaches to a remote and puts Madmen on pause. You weren't home as so I started without you. You know, Netflix and chill. Join me, there's a space on the sofa. I brought us a snack. You enjoyed it the last time. One point of a lazily unconscious woman. I forgot. My name is Aladdin Davis. I like you a lot. Help yourself and settle in. Netflix and... Adeline makes space for herself as you sit down between the two and the unconscious mole. You lean in and drink from the girl as Adeline uses a remote to turn Madman back on. The girl moans into sleep as you drink from her, but doesn't wake. The blood tastes pleasant and unhurried, a far cry from the adrenaline blood you got from hunting a victim who knows you're coming. You lick the girl's blood closed and sit back on the sofa. Adeline lies down and rests her head on your lap. Isn't this nice? She's an absolute crazy person. I've missed this. We can pretend to be human for a while at least. You watch shows together, taking a small step from the human every now and then. You don't know vampires could spend time like this. The door at your apartment opens and your mind is elsewhere and you react slowly. Sophie strides into the living room. She has a key to your haven. You never bothered to knock, of course. You're shacking up with Aladine Davis, the scourge of Snug Harbour in the flesh. This is a new low for you, fledgling. I'm embarrassed for you, really. Perhaps I should not be surprised. We'll say, Adeline, you better go. Adeline glances at Sophie and gives you a quick kiss on the cheek. Sophie sighs. Adeline leaves the room, making sure to give a wide berth to Sophie as possible. Sophie waits by the door of the apartment to close before she speaks. Clan of the Moon. Did I not advise caution when dealing with them? As you watch, Sophie makes a phone call. 10 minutes later, two of the servants arrive and remove unconscious girl sprawled on your sofa. You clearly need my help. It wouldn't happen tonight, but I'll let you see if I can resolve the stalker problem for real. You're left wondering what Sophie means by that, and she leaves your haven. We're gonna do this, then the hope one. That sounds cool. Because I want to solve this issue. I have no idea how far we're in the game. Depending on how long this takes, we might not do the hope thing and wrap up the stream a bit early. Visiting the Asylum with Sophie is always a humbling experience. She's connected, well known, and important. You're a nobody. You've always known this, of course, but especially apparent when you arrive with her. Everyone notices her. She drinks in it like she's a birthright. That's Adeline Davis. Let's go say hello. You spot the woman Sophie is referring to. Adeline, your stalker. The intense, disheveled, young-looking woman. A Malkavian. You've understood correctly. As you approach, Adeline smiles at you with a dying look of disdain towards Sophie. Don't worry, I don't judge people by the company they keep. That's sweet of you, darling. Let me say this straight. You can't keep doing what you're doing. You have to leave my poor ward alone. Adeline looks from Sophie to you and giggles. The sound must be rather Elysian because it makes people glance towards you. I see. She's making you do this. Don't worry, we'll be together later. Let's stay friends. I'm not really in for a romantic relationship with you, Adeline. Let's stay friends instead. That's fine, don't worry. We can stay friends. Friends who kiss and watch Mad Men together. Please, I'm not ready for stop pushing a love story into me. That's too much for me. You're too much for me. You're too much for me. Many people have told me that, but don't worry. I can wait. We are immortals. The years pass, but the feelings we have for each other are precious. We should know that we've always will always be there, everywhere, invisible in the night. Sophie chuckles as Aladine walks away. I suppose that went as well as it could expect it. It seems you have a guardian angel. Have fun. As Sophie steps away to chat with her friends, you feel lonely. Surrounded by kindred, you're not sure anyone can really help you navigate the bizarre social environment. Okay, that was a lot shorter than I expected. We got 20 minutes. We can do this one. Cara wants to meet. Hope decides she should see her alone with an ace. Okay, cool. When you've reached the cafe, you're welcomed by a familiar face of a waiter that leads you inside. You exchange a look and nods, and he hides his vape pen in his back pocket. She's been expecting you. Something happened to the car. She's hasn't exactly left her room ever since. He scratches his head, shrugs, and gestures for you to follow him. In the same route as before, first beyond the locked door at the end of the room with all computers, then into an endless grey labyrinth. Finally, you reach a door that would look like any other to a random base islander. Of course, you know that's Hope's haven lies beyond. Waiter bids you adieu, then exchanges bows and starts to walk back towards the cafe. You enter the familiar room, this time with the lights are on inside. Hope is inside, walking around nervously, overseeing every screen in sight. When she spots you, she wastes no time in introductions. Kara Montgomery. What do you know of her? I know the name. You could have seen her in the listicles such as top 5 badass women in tech 2008, 12 CEOs who spark innovation through empathy, or 20 entrepreneurs with mysterious ties to Jeffrey Epstein. You don't get to voice your answer. The question was just a minor courtesy. She has a monologue to deliver and she won't allow any interruptions. 20 years ago, she failed a dot-com investment. She was the CEO of Double Spiral, a brand management setup, working at the crossroads of big data and influence culture. The quotations are audible, dripping with venom. Long story short, she spent years convincing her camera context, as in out-of-touch old farts angry about smartphones that kindred can benefit from controlling the internet. Her IT goals have done a lot of research on deepfakes, AI, machine learning. Her goal is an ability to generate thousands of believable human accounts online. Basically, an army of posters that could brute force anything into mainstream discourse. The elders took a while to get a concept, and eventually, Kara got their blessing. The thing is, she claims the tech is already being tested, but it needs one final component to work properly, and that's why she pauses. She proposed a truce. What truce? What truce? What kind of truce? We'll become friends? Become a friend or face violent death kind of truce. Not exactly fucking convincing, if you ask me. But no matter how much I hate her guts, this is a blessing in disguise. Hear me out. She picked a public place in Manhattan, neutral ground, where we can meet without the fear of an intervention from another party might do something stupid and violate Masquerade. She just wants to talk. You will get there in my place and listen to her terms. You won't accept them, of course, especially not after she tried to kill us. You will steal her voice and walk away. Steal her voice? Steal her voice. What next? You want me to trade Mermaid Tail for her legs? A Disney joke. Sweet. Next, what next? Will you hit me with a topical Harry Potter reference? I'm not trying to be obscure here. Wait a second and let me explain the plan. You see, there's only one way to even the odds. We have hit Kara where it hurts. She's only got one weak point, Double Spiral's headquarters. Kara's the only person with access to every room. With security is everything she can help with herself, voice-based, but using a different password each phrase each time. That means that recording her talk is not enough if we want to get in. That's why I started selling I liked materials to people with access to advanced deepfake audio technology. I've got it right here in this room. And now all I need to do is sample a base that will allow me to malfunction a bot that talks like her, to monitor data, I need to stay behind. Still, I think the plan is simple. You talk to her while wearing a wire, I press the recording here to steal her voice, and voila, she's wide open. Then we invade Double Spiral and destroy it from within. The evil's defeated, I become a party of your crew. Happy ending for everyone. How does that sound to you? Sounds fun. Happy to hear it. Hope shakes her hand and clasps her hand. Then she speaks up. The sound is different, more spaced out, stirring. Alright, let me fix you up with the hardware. She hands you a Masquerade earpiece, attaches a small directive to a pin of your clothing, along with some masked wiring. It's a directional microphone. I can clean up the audio later, but keep it pointed directly at Kara, as much as possible, right? I put on the earpiece she gave you. It fits snugly deep right inside your right ear. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. The hardware works flawlessly. The audible quality is great. You give Hope an affirmative sign with her tablets. Beautiful. Kara's designated meeting place is Vassal. You heard about that place, right? It's right by the east end of Lincoln Tunnel. A giant pile of staircases, basically impossible to miss. Manhattan's answer to Eiffel Tower. A grungy monument to only being ever so slightly free, depending on who you ask. I'll drive you there. My car is still in the shop. I don't want to risk being spotted by Kara's people, and I need to process the voice data from here. Which means I need a perfectly acceptable number of excuses to not let myself get away any closer to that demonic old hag. You involuntarily roll your eyes a bit. Hope is sitting in front of her screen, pretending not to have noticed. So we should get a show on the road, right? Ready when you are. No sense in lingering. You get up back to the streets and find your car. Wrapping up this show as quickly as possible sounds like a good idea. Around 30 minutes later, you're at the vessel. I think I've heard of this. Yeah, this is like... Ask a Mortician has a really good video on this place because this has a lot of suicides. That's happened here. It's sad, but like it's not designed. It's not greatly designed. Hope's description of a giant pile of staircases wasn't particularly helpful. From anything from a distance, the building looks like more like a gigantic honeycomb designed to swarm with tourist bees. Alas, during the day, that's it. The monument is a piece closed to general public. At the moment, the place is closed to the general public. A few men look vaguely threatening and out of place, making sure nobody gets in unentered. However, you have no problem getting up all the stairs. All it takes is exchange of knowing glances with one of guards. You are expected. A lone figure appears in your sight, staring down at the streets of Manhattan. You know, see, people often complain about that they are unable to see the starry sky, but I always thought the real tragedy was how unable you are to appreciate the man-made sea of lights that surround them. You can teach people a lot of things, but you can't teach them how to see. You recognize the face from Hope's phone. You finally met Kara Mangotteri. God, I'm pronouncing that name, Kara. In the flesh, she turns to you, puts on a wide smile, and she shakes your hand with a firm grip. First, a representation of Sophie Langer, now a representation of Hope. Not the way of developing my own career, but I gotta say, not many neonates get around the way you do. Hardy fucking car. Hope's exciting your earpiece for the first time, seething with contempt, though Kara couldn't possibly have heard. She immediately goes to address her absence. Can't say I expected her to actually arrive here, with you or instead of you. On the other hand, I'm sure every single word I say will instantly be relayed to her. And for the first time in forever, your empty barbering will serve an actual useful cause. So let me cut to the chase. Everyone but the middleman for a while, okay? She takes out her phone and taps the touchscreen. In a few seconds, the barely settled buzz surrounding in your ear disappears completely. You can't hear Hope anymore. It's probably she can't hear your voice right now, either. Which means she must be busy raging and causing out everything in her sight at the moment. This is obviously something she wasn't expecting to happen. Could it be Kara saw through your plan? You have to play it cool and see what happens next. Knowing Cope, you've probably heard whatever scraps you can be googled about me and a pile of insults for good measure. Obviously, I know everything there is to be known about you as well, Gawain. I don't believe we need formal introductions, but first off, I had to apologize to you for the discomfort of my former employees has caused you. I wasn't remotely aware of his planning actions against Hope. I fully condemn them. I'm glad to see you're unharmed, and of course, applaud your swift proposal of the psycho. Langley chose you well. Brief silence. So let me cut to the chase and present myself the best way I know. Through my ideas. Who do you think has a monopoly on reality? The technocracy. Not much of a small talk, is she? How do you think has a monopoly on reality? Both of these are technically correct and whatnot. This is technocracy is both of them. Corporations. Corporations do. That's a fair typical answer, very 21st century sounding. Have they succeeded in replacing the state here, though? Signals sun behind you. For a while, you've been watching Kara's men who circled the staircase, presumably her ghouls. One of them sets off down the staircase. You know, Bolivia just had a military coup. Hundreds of new accounts posting about nothing but Bavarian politics in English set out to convince every random person online that the US wasn't to blame. Sloppy work, if you ask me. Now imagine a 17-year-old K-pop fan from Ohio writing an entire thread about how our relatives in La Paz are actually glad the president is gone. A film reviewer with a side interest in politics selling you CIA-approved narratives about Evo Morales, an approachable fitness guy explaining the situation to you in simple terms, just like it is. Animated voices, expressive gestures, and steady eye contact, she taught herself how to project a good image, but isn't neutral yet. At times it feels like she's screaming at you to trust her. It's hard to emulate the masses. Reach out to one of those Eastern European troll farms and bang, a few hours later, a clone army will instantly voice their support for any cause. You will spread your message, but when we foster a new culture that serves your goals, when Masquerade your message is an independent thought. For that, you need personalities, not the masses. But the ability to emulate personalities, a whole different ballgame. Not a craft, but an art. You can need to understand the fabrication so deeply that you start hating it, and then you learn to love it. And if you want to make a bunch of those personalities follow your agenda, you need to have a once-in-a-lifetime team to achieve that. A like-minded artistic collective, both ambitious and obedient. Even before, you can't hear Hope's voice in your ears now. You could swear you could hear Kara's speech. It's the exact same one she's used when monologuing in her car. One of them must have a big influence on another. Or perhaps they used to be in a position where both of them shaped each other's personas. Hard to say. Only one thing for certain is sure. And that is Hope must be absolutely furious right now. It's possible that Kara knew about her plot. Fingers crossed she doesn't. The state is satisfied when the accounts they weren't unused for 5 years suddenly start yelling imperialist propaganda into the void. The aging corporations are too set in their ways. But imagine a fresh startup that enables a proliferation of ideas adjacent to our plans for the future. Now imagine getting into bed with the biggest corporations and agencies. So many other lives could be improved, or even saved from the first raids of First Light. I have the infrastructure. I have the elder support. All I need now is a mastermind at the center of it all. Hope. Yes, Hope. You look down at the stairs. The seconds you below for a while. Then she points out her t-shirt. One piece of clothing that clashes with the rest of the outfit. You know, I'm a huge fan of punk. The leading idea of my company, Double Spiral, is to make everything I do a little more punk. I'm all about clashing ideas, about disruption. You blink a few times in quick succession. Oh god, you think to yourself, she's that kind of person. You saw a lot of them in your old life. Another establishment asshole, incorporating everything that anti-establishment, blazing fugazis, while ruining lives via Excel spreadsheets. You might have punched a boss cut from the same cloth. You might have punched a boss cut from the same cloth at once. You collect yourself, escape your memory lane. Kara's starting to talk about Hope, so you better listen. To me, Hope is a punk as it gets, a free spirit, fiercely independent, as contradictory at odds with everything and everyone, developed with her talents just because she finds it joyful. But God, does that girl need guidance. Not putting her talents to better use, rotting away posting insane bullshit all the time. What a waste. I have a better environment specifically to develop her talents, to let her become indispensable to our society, but she rejects it because of some ideological idiot hang-ups. I don't expect you to change your mind about me just because I keep yapping and yapping. I just hope we'll keep my perspective in mind and serve as a voice of reason. Hope really needs right now. Now that I have to say about I've had my say about how we put her, and now I've had my say, how about we put the girl back on? She taps the phone again and quiet buzz reappears in your ear. Takara, you're bluffing. This is a better safe than sorry kind of thing, isn't it? There's no one listening. You're right. Maybe you're right, maybe you're not. She's 100% too years to even think of accessing my comms. She's bullshitting you. Don't sell her anything but bullshit in return. Look who's back. Don't worry. She should have heard everything. I just wanted to spread an annoying commentary track as I introduced myself. Excuse me for a second. One of Clara's guard approach shows something on his phone. Hope uses this distraction to get you up to speed with how things are on her side. Yeah, for a second I thought about raging the hag has got the better of us, but hey, go figure. She just wanted to take a piss in my she didn't want to take a piss in my Cheerios. The plan worked. I have a lot of data from the monologue. Some private sources, but more we get, the better. The display here says K. Letters could be useful. So don't beat yourself up if you fail. But if you get to repeat anything with K in it, you might have to improve our deepfake voice. Looks like Kara's done talking to the guard. Sorry about that. Looks like I have to go attend to a sudden meeting with Google's representation shortly. Hope snorts. Not bragging though. By the way, does anyone but Hope know about this little rendezvous? Your patron, any companions, or maybe the Nosferatu? Nobody. It's just us. Should I have told anyone? Maybe not. It's just a lot about your personality, that's all. Anyway, no offense, but since Hope's not here, I really have to rush. Honestly, I feel a little insulted that she set this meeting up and didn't even bother to show up. Insulted and surprised, her tone of voice betrays her. It might have some good instincts. Too bad she didn't trust them. Still, our responsibility to Langley, I've decided to have this talk with you. To explain why I'm in the assistance of Camarilla, and to explain why the elders need Hope on my side. What a worm-brained hag. Have forgotten to mention that the elders don't give a shit about me? Even if you don't see it that way, I believe I've sworn down some seeds that might have sprouted in the near future. Double Spiral looks out for people who look out for them, is what I'm saying. Before I leave, there's one thing I really wish I knew. Back when I knew her, she was a different person, or different people, depending on how you look at it. Why did she fight against me so much? What's her motivation to resist so much? What's her motivation? Good question. She never shared it with you. Answer whatever you want. A, better lie though for your teeth. B, get to say V a few times if you can. It might improve a few shortcomings in our deepfake software. What's your answer? Survival. Kara snorts. Spare me. If she just wants to keep pulling through, she'd do much better than chance by my side. Pride or spite would be far more believable as an answer. Should have told me you either don't know or you don't trust me. Survival. V2 times. Good attempt at least. One of Kara's people interrupts with a fanatical cough. Kara gestures to him to calm down. I really need to go now. See you around, Gawain. She begins to walk down the stairs, surrounded by her guards. Once she's gone from beneath before your eyes, Hope decides to summarize your mission. For the love of Christ, wish you could have kept her droning on a little longer. Turns out the tea letter could use some improvement as well. No complaining though, you did good. And don't worry, the data I should have is more than enough to generate a convincing deepfake. I just need to put in some more work. So I guess I need to get to right away. Enjoy the rest of your night. Drop my hardware at your haven when you get a chance. I'll let you know when you need when we're ready to hit Kara's base of operations. Pray for my success, sweetie, and might be done soon. Maybe even tomorrow. And once we're done with her, we'll talk about how I can repay your generosity, amen. The connection drops. It looks like that's all for now. You gaze up a sea of lights, and for the last time, you start to make your way back down to the street level. And that's probably where we're going to end the game. Because that is coming up to it. We're just going to save and exit. Let's see how far we're in. We're on night 12. Okay, cool. Until next time, I hope you guys have a lovely day. On the weekend, we're going to be doing more Samurai Maiden. Until then, I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.